It's time for MacBreak Weekly, episode 198. A great cast in studio with us. Don McAllister from Britain, mostly Lisa from Canada, from Boston, Andy Ihnatko, and Mr. Alex Lindsay. We're going to talk about the new iPhone, iOS, Safari 5, and more. MacBreak Weekly is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for MacBreak Weekly is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 198, recorded June 8th, 2010.
Harry Potter!
No! MacBreak Weekly is brought to you by Drobo, the original S, Pro, the new Elite, and FS, offering expandable storage products for individuals, small businesses, and creative teams. For more information and instant rebates, visit drobo.com/MacBreak. And by Gazelle, the easy way to sell or recycle used gadgets lying around your home or office. Collect your used gadgets and Gazelle them today at GAZELLE.com. And by Audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audible.com/MacBreak. It's time for MacBreak Weekly, the show that covers the latest from Cupertino, all the Macintosh stuff, including the Macintosh, OS X, iOS, we can call it iOS now, the new iPhone, the iPad, iPod, and we're all together in studio today because everybody was in town for the Worldwide Developers Conference. Now, it's nothing unusual to have Alex Lindsay in studio. It's great to have you, Alex. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure. I've traveled long and far to be here.
Just a block, I think.
Couple blocks, yeah.
Alex Lindsay.
Also joining us, it's really wonderful to have Mr. Don McAllister, who did travel far. You came all the way from
Certainly did.
Liverpool.
WWDC is like the sideline. I came for this, really. That's the main reason for the trip, and then WWDC is a sideline, really.
Don's the host of Screencasts Online and has his own jingle. I don't know why.
Don McAllister.
It's just, I don't know, because you're not on that often.
Well, Jeff's done my theme tune, so he's probably
Jeff
done me a
loves
favor.
you.
Yeah.
Jeff's doing you a favor.
Yeah.
Now we have
Good
to
old
have you
Jeff.
on.
Yeah. Great.
Somebody who did travel all the way from the right coast, I believe it is.
The correct coast,
Yes,
Leo.
the correct coast. Mr. Andy Ihnatko. Great to see you, Andy.
Once a year, you keep coming with the free beverages, and I'll keep coming in studio.
Now, we brought you Coke Zero, but does that have kosher sugar in it?
It has phosphoric acid. That's really what I'm in for. My doctor says I do have a phosphoric acid deficiency. And I don't eat 7 of these a day.
That's what gives him that bass sound.
Andy Ihnatko.
And, ladies and gentlemen, a very special guest.
And special guest, insert name here.
Lisa.
You can see how special she is.
Lisa Bettany, the only one without a jingle on the show today. Hi, Lisa. It's good to see you
Good to
from
see you.
MostlyLisa.com. She's a blogger and a very accomplished photographer and has been on the show many times before. Did you come for WWDC or are you just in town?
I did well. We launched my new iPhone app, Camera Plus.
Wait a minute. I haven't heard about that.
You haven't heard about
This
it?
is your. What do you mean
It's
your?
all everybody's talking about, Leo.
What do you mean your iPhone app?
Well, I helped develop it.
Really?
Yeah.
She actually wrote all the code.
Did you go on stage with Steve and show it off?
Well, we were hoping that we'd pop up there, but we sent him an email.
A lot of stuff popped up, didn't it?
It really did.
So tell me, this is cool. I didn't even know you were doing this. Camera Plus. Free zoom, flash, crop, effect, share, record videos on 2 and 3G. And it's free? So you're not in this for the money?
No.
It's not free?
It's not free.
It says free.
But it's so inexpensive.
It's
It
free
can practically
Zoom.
be free.
There's no extra charge for the Zoom.
Camera Plus with a plus sign.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah, it's our URL is campl.us. Camp.
Oh, I'm sorry. I showed the free one.
I haven't been camping in a good
Jeez.
long time. I'm looking forward to the experience.
Okay, so it's say it again. The URL is
campl.us.
Oh, clever.
And I did.
Oh, this is much prettier than the other one.
Yeah, actually, I shot the video 5D Mark II styles.
Great.
So
what does this do? $2.99. Okay, that's practically free.
It's practically free.
And you can win a 5D Mark II photo rig.
Oh my gosh. Okay, they asked me, come up with your dream rig, and I thought they were maybe going to buy me a present. And then they said, no, you have to give this away. And I'm like,
Damn you. Damn you.
You can win a 5D Mark II and every lens from a fisheye to a macro to telephoto.
This is great. Will this work with the new iPhone?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, the new iPhone's actually a decent camera. 5 megapixels.
I'm
HD
really
video. If I were Cisco, I'd be a little worried. Not only because this puts the flip kind of on the wrong side. They also own iOS. Oopsie.
I'm guessing they made some money on that.
Maybe that's how it worked out.
Apple just kind of flicked a couple.
They owned
couple
iPhone,
bills out,
didn't they? They also owned. That's not the only thing Cisco owned.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, anyway, who was in the hall? You were, Don,
Yeah,
right?
I was there. Yeah.
And Andy, you were also in the hall.
Yep.
Impressions, Don? Anything?
Yeah, it was a long keynote. It was
2 hours. Yeah,
just going on for 2 hours.
We covered it here. I was not here. I was on assignment. No, I was actually at an in-service for some teachers.
Yeah.
But Tom Merritt did a great job with Alex. You were here.
I loved it. I loved the show.
Did you enjoy it?
I really did. And, I mean, we were sort of watching you, and then we had Engadget up there. And
Well, everybody live blogs it. GDGT, Ryan does it. Joshua Topolsky, who was on Twit, did it for Engadget.
But then when it all went down, it was like,
They couldn't blog.
I know, but we were all just sort of.
And what did you do, Alex? Were you able to figure out what was going on when
Yeah, it was there was kind of a stall. We had an audio stream for a little bit, and then whoever was streaming it stopped when they said you got to turn everything off. And then it was like everything stopped for a second, and then it started to pick back up again. Like because there was some of the folks I know. Jason Snell was like, yeah, we're not going to turn off our MiFi. That's not really going to happen.
That is kind of a problem in that I felt as though I can turn off my MiFi for the duration of this immediate Wi-Fi demonstration, but I really don't want to have to say, yes, the CEO of Apple asked me to stop reporting this event live, and I did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. No matter what the reason.
It was the MiFi. It was the base stations that people were using. So the normal Wi-Fi just carried on working. So I was just.
What do you mean base stations? People.
Well, I think they identified 700 base stations.
But like the
Wait
MiFi.
a minute. What do you mean base station? Oh, MiFi. There were 700
I think
MiFi.
they said 570. I think 570.
570, just the MiFis alone.
What?
At least that's how I done.
So a lot of these journalists were sitting in there, or developers too, I guess.
Well, because I mean, you're not going to necessarily. If it's really important that you be live blogging, you're not going to trust the Wi-Fi that they give you. You are not going to trust the AT&T networks.
You think there were 540 live blogs of this event?
I think well, not just live blogs, but people who just want to tweet, and people just as a matter of general principle, like, well, I'm going to have the laptop open, I'm going to be Facebooking while I'm doing this.
I'm just an ignorant tech guy, but why didn't Steve have his own secured access point with his own secured bandwidth for this demo? I'm just thinking.
But I think that the issue is it literally just created so much crosstalk. You have that much Wi-Fi. It doesn't matter if you have your own or not.
There's no bandwidth.
It's not the bandwidth issue. It's literally just there is so much interference going on. There's no channels open.
Because
that was the issue.
The system was designed for one every 500 yards max.
Something like that makes
sense. So it wasn't designed for having. The person who designed did not imagine that you'll be able to carry your own internet in a credit card like thing, and hundreds of people, You can't be that forward thinking.
This is exactly what happened to Google at Google I/O. Yeah. They couldn't do the demo of their remote control on Google TV, and they had do the same thing.
Yeah, but the difference is that they were like, can everybody turn off their cell phones? Our wireless please, come on, guys, turn off your keyboards.
Well, Steve says it with more authority.
Steve said,
he
okay.
Sure did.
No, he said, quote unquote, we have a choice here. We can either not do any more wireless demos, or we can all turn around. Do you want to see more demos? Yes. Okay, everybody turn their stuff off. And then 5 minutes later, he does the next demo, and it loads in instantly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Behold the power of Steve.
There's the difference between Steve and Vic right there.
Didn't you get an email from AT&T?
Yes, there was. I was.
Wait a minute. What? During this?
Because the problem was that he was trying to show the iPhone 4 loading in the New York Times page, and was just stalling because it could not find a connection to the internet. And I got a couple embarrassing error messages saying we can't get a connection to the internet on the phone. And so they're trying to resolve this. And AT&T releases a press release that I see in the middle of the keynote saying it wasn't our fault. We're responsible for a lot of stuff, but we weren't responsible for this. It was Wi-Fi.
There's somebody sitting in the audience writing this press release.
And it had the form of I don't think there were thumb errors in the typing, but you could tell that someone was saying, okay, at last we have a plausible explanation for a problem with an iPhone that is not our responsibility.
I almost thought that this was a setup to say, And we just like to let everyone know we're going to add Verizon. Like the whole thing is like these are the problems that we've been having for the last year.
We can't get connected with 3G. Let's turn on the WiMAX connection in the new iPhone 4.
Wouldn't that have been nice?
That would have been a good setup.
That's what I had been predicting, and I was wrong.
There was a heckler as well when I think when he asked for any suggestions, someone railed out Verizon.
Oh yeah. Ouch.
Well, next year they're going to get around. They're going to build a big Faraday cage on stage, so you can just go in and do the demo with the Faraday.
I think the next one you're going to see like trailing this long like Cat 6 cable off the box back of the thing. What's this? Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. It's nothing.
So let's go through one by one Steve's points in his presentation. I guess. I mean, there's close to 100 million of these devices, iPhone and iPod touches, and I guess iPad. I throw in iPad for a couple million. That's amazing. 100 million. That's what he said we'd have by the end of June.
Yeah, and you got to see that if there was anything that was directly pointed at the Google I/O keynote, the first 15 minutes was all about here's how much money we're making for developers. Here's the amount of market that we have versus Android. Here's the amount of browser eyeballs we have.
60 million in iAd buys already.
Right. So it wasn't as blatant as what Google was talking about Apple, but it was clear. You could clearly tell that okay, you want to play. Put on the pads because this is the NFL. Folks.
Well, I mean the $60 million in iAds and you don't even have a service yet. I mean, that's
pretty impressive.
Yeah. And the names as well. I mean, they're all household names. Really big players in the space.
Well, and that's a shot at Google. That isn't necessarily even for developers. That's a message to Google. We're in your cheese here.
Not only that, because Google was saying, "No, come on. Yes, Apple's starting their own service, but we're in the ad business. From day one, we've been doing ads. Where all the ads are." Apple did something very smart. They decided to redefine the fight, saying, "Our job is not to be the #1 ad company. Our job is to help you sell money through ads in a non-intrusive way. We're not going to sell ads that take people outside of your app, and we're also not going to sell ads that are going to annoy our users. So it's for the users' point of view, it's for the developer's point of view. We're just not. We're Apple. We love everybody. We're not into this build."
Lisa, as a developer, is that compelling to you? Did you look at, for instance, you charge for this? There's no ads, I presume, in Camera Plus.
No.
Would you consider it now?
I don't think so, honestly.
I like ads are annoying.
Yeah, I'd like to keep it really clean.
But Steve said if you want to we want to encourage free apps. If you want to encourage free apps, that's how you do it, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I would like to keep it clean and not have anything sort of intrude on the user experience.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Are you going to do free?
We're definitely going to do ad-based stuff. I mean, what I think is interesting is the idea that I don't trust. This is the odd thing, is that I've never put Google ads on my website because I hate the way the text looks, or I don't trust that the banner stuff is going to be appropriate, or it's going to be whatever. And I have to admit that I trust that Apple's going to worry about the fit and finish of the ads to a level where I'm actually pretty excited about putting them on. I think because there's something like when we ran ads for iStock Photo on MacBreak, I remember. I felt like it actually brought the production value of our show up. There were such great ads. And so in the same way, I think that Apple's ads, they're going to be appropriately put in, and we'll see. I mean, maybe it won't. And it's an opportunity for, I think, especially for the early adopters, it's an opportunity to get a hold of some of that $60 million.
Well, they're looking for the emotional response, and I think the way they'll position it is that they'll make the ads compelling, and people will actually look forward to new ads as they come out and say, "Oh, have you seen the latest such and such ad?" Because you kept within the application, you don't have to go out to the browser. And I mean, the one they demoed at the keynote was pretty cool, actually. It
was more like a standalone app that advertises the product. I mean, all the different brands that they were showing are the ads you would find like in a golf magazine. And I think the most annoying ads that are on the internet are the ones where there's a leprechaun that's burping out $signs to try to convince you to refinance your home. So that's what I really want to see. What's the full spectrum of ads that are going to be available? Because the first time I get one of these fly-by-night, gold pennies for gold.
I think that Apple is looking for Fortune 500 companies. They're looking for big ads. They're looking for people with big creative budgets, with things that are interesting to go into. And I think that's going to be. I think that's an interesting. And it shows you the different philosophy between Apple and Google. The shotgun philosophy versus the, we're going to shine off every little thing, whether you like it that or not. I mean, there's sometimes when I wish that Apple would do more of the shotgun philosophy. Like I wish they'd let us experiment a little bit more. And I'm going to jailbreak my phone, my old one, so that I can play with that, go out into the playground and play, because I feel like there's too much control for me all the time, but the main phone that I'm using, it'll just be.
Do you think that users are getting more used to ads in this way, like very directed ads? I mean, Google ads are scary. Like they're like, "Hey, Lisa."
Yeah, they're not as bad as Facebook ads. Say other 53-year-olds in Petaluma like this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean I don't miss that at all.
Yeah,
I tell you. Oof. But I do miss Farmville, and I'm very pleased to see that Mark Pincus took the stage, and Farmville is now.
How much would I damage this microphone by pounding my head against it over and over again, Liam?
Come on, admit it. You want to play Farmville?
No, I don't. No, you
don't. It's a horrible, addictive. You know that Farmville thing that you told us about, Lisa, the parody video, is actually very right on. It's not fun. It's addictive, and you have this social obligation to give people stuff because they gave you stuff.
Well, did you hear about that the kid in England who literally maxed his credit card?
Yeah, because he kept buying more Farmville crap to build a chicken coop.
I think it's a secret Chinese plot to slow the American populace down so they can continue to overtake us.
It should be Zynga.
Zynga.
There's so many games like that they're like that stress putty that you have. That all you can do is just keep kneading it and kneading it and kneading it. It just gives you something to just have a tactile response to.
It's exactly what it is.
As opposed to a game that really makes you think hard.
Sorry.
And
my dog gets excited when you say stress putty. Calm down.
No, he'll say, if I stepped on a small dog, I bet I would feel it.
No, he loves stress putty. No, my mom actually had. I gave her an iPad. She's out visiting because Abby's graduation. Gave her an iPad. Put We Rule on it, which is a farming game on it, and she hasn't. She normally knits constantly. Same idea. She hasn't knit one pearl.
Oh, dear.
I know. I don't get socks this year.
Yeah.
I'm bummed.
I was looking forward to getting a Doctor Who scarf from her.
Oh, if you ask her, she's going to come by later. She'll make you a Doctor Who scarf. Yeah.
It was weird, though, that they put those demos on so early on in the keynote, with it being a sort of tech.
That's what they started with, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much so, yeah. Once they got all
Let's take a break. I want to, speaking of ads, do an ad, but we're going to come back. We've got a great panel. Andy Ihnatko is here, Don McAllister, Lisa Bettany, Alex Lindsay. And we're going to, actually, let's go through step by step what's new in the iPhone. There's only a handful of new things, really, in the iPhone. And we'll do that right at, and what we didn't see, too, because there's actually probably more to say about what didn't happen than what did happen at WWDC. And we haven't mentioned price and availability. I suppose I should do that. $199 for 16 gigabytes, $299 for 32 gigabytes. You can order on the 15th in less than a week, and you can pick it up on the 24th.
Unless you're in Canada.
What is the Canada situation?
July.
Really?
Really?
They're on the second round, too. It's not even the first round of external. They're like,
why?
Is it on Rogers? Is that who does it? Or
yeah.
Bell? Rogers?
I mean, I think more carriers are going to.
Not just Rogers. Yes, you have that advantage in Canada.
Yeah, but still, it was the same with the iPad, and I've sort of been outspoken about not getting an iPad, and it's mainly because we just.
Yeah, you want to boycott.
Yeah, and we don't get it for so long, and
you want to play Rewards.
I know, and now I've got my
really
foot in my
fun.
mouth, and I really want one, and I've
one.
been searching and searching, and there's not a place in.
You can't get one here. I think you should move to the States, Lisa Bettany. Just move to the States. You'd get iPhones, iPads.
I know.
You'd be on our show more
I'm
often.
so close. Yes.
It's worth losing your health coverage.
Oh yeah, that.
Oh, that.
Ow!
Oh, maybe not.
Ouch! All right, let's talk a little bit about our friends at the Drobo. I think we're getting to be a Drobo house. We got a lot of Drobos coming in house. We're using them more and more, and that's because we learned a lesson. We bought very expensive hard drives. We bought what's called a SAN, a Storage Area Network, for $20,000, and it's proving, frankly, to be less reliable, less effective, less useful than a Drobo. And I'm thinking, Drobo's an advertiser. What was I thinking? I was convinced, you got to go with the corporate solution.
do you have a Drobo Elite?
We have Elites, we have FSs, we have all sorts of. Colleen, before she left, kind of said, we're getting Drobos everywhere. And actually, I have to check what's going on with the Drobos.
Because we're editing off of them. All the MacBreaks are all edited from a Drobo Elite. We've got 5 iMacs.
How many editors at once, though?
We have 5 iMacs. I don't know if they're all editing all the time at once, but it's a pretty steady stream of stuff. And I didn't think it was going to work.
A SAN is about availability. A SAN is about we have 3 editors editing video while I'm recording. I'm recording to the SAN right now, all over fiber optic.
Right.
But yeah, I'm thinking that we made a mistake. The Elite wasn't out when we bought the SAN.
Right.
I've definitely found since shooting a lot more with 5D Mark II.
You need that storage.
It is insane how you go from just filling Yeah.
Because
Drobo.
scads. Are you also, John's about to teach? Everybody's a Drobo user.
Yeah, I am
here.
actually. Yeah. Well, I recently upgraded to a Drobo Pro. I was using the standard.
That's the
4-bank
5-disc, right?
No, the Pro is 8.
8?
Yeah, the
Holy
8
moly!
one, yeah. But the nice thing is, I've sort of repurposed the original Drobo from a media center because as you collect more and more media, I always had a problem of deleting stuff off the drive when it got too big. But with the Drobo now, I've only populated it with 3 drives, so I've got a spare drive slot free, so as my media collection builds, I can just pop another drive in and it'll just expand. So it works really well.
I haven't even started the ad, and already the ad is
sorry.
open. No, it's great. That's a better ad than me saying it. But I'll give you some of the details. It's drobo.com/MacBreak for some really good discounts, $75 to $500 on populated Drobos. What is the Drobo? It's an enclosure. You can buy it with or without drives. If you've got a lot of drives lying around, it's great for that because the drives, unlike a RAID where the RAID aggregates the drives but makes the size of each drive the size of the smallest drive. Drobo just adds them all up. They can be all different sizes, heterogeneous drives as long as they're SATA. Drobo then assigns about 1/4 to 1/3 of that drive for redundancy, so you never lose a bit even if a drive dies. And on the bigger Drobos, you can lose 2 drives simultaneously and still not lose data. So the original Drobo is 4 disk bays. That's what I use at home as a backup. And I've got 1.5 TB drives in it, so that's 6 total, and about 4 of that 6 is used for storage. That's a lot of terabytes. The newer Drobo S has 5 disk bays, and that's for people like Lisa, creative professionals who have a lot of data, and they need some speed too because it's a little bit faster. The Drobo Pro, that's what Don has, with 8 bays.
Wow.
That's 16 terabytes with the current hard drives, but you can go even bigger as the drive capacities increase. You were talking about, Alex, about the Drobo Elite. This is really more like a SAN. This has 8 drives, but it also has up to 16 computers connected via iSCSI over Ethernet. There are 2 gigabit Ethernet ports. So it looks like a local disk drive to up to 16 different computers, and that's why the editors can share it and so forth. It's also VMware certified, so you can use it for virtualization.
It's been very successful.
Has it really?
Yeah, it's been really successful.
Wow. Yeah, see, I should have.
And they're editing, a lot of their stuff's XDCam or Apple ProRes, and
high def.
it's all HD. Yeah, we don't have a production pipe for SD.
And then there's the new Drobo FS, which is basically like a NAS. It has 2 processors, and it's running Linux, and you have plugins. It's really great. This is all of it's
I
fantastic.
think they've just upgraded the firmware for that as well, so you can use it as a proper time machine.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you can actually partition a separate partition one on the FS.
That is a massive
Is
time
everyone
machine.
here using Time Machine?
No, I don't use it.
I don't use it.
I use it for some of the machines, yeah,
Really?
the laptops and stuff, yeah.
It always seems stressful when it says you gotta back up all the time. And mine's currently says you haven't backed up in 261
Doesn't it do it
days.
That's stressful. That's very stressful. So
It should be stressing you out.
doesn't it do it automatically? I thought Time Machine, the whole point was it just does it.
Well, I don't know. I stopped it because it always
it's
interrupts what I'm
annoying.
doing,
Yeah, I know.
and I just like
No. Get
I'm always in the middle of something.
a Drobo that's good. The FS has the software to do it all. It's just automatic. You don't think about it.
What was the price point of?
Well, Lisa Bettany, all you have to do is go to drobo.com/MacBreak. You can use the coupon code MacBreakWeekly. I should put that in. I have it say MacBreak. MacBreak Weekly coupon code. And you will save $75 to $500 on a populated Drobo system. So if you've got a lot of... You seem like you might have a lot of hard drives lying around, so you would just get the enclosure.
I do.
So
I have to name them.
I would say for you, the FS would be a good choice. $16.99. You have to name your hard drives?
Yes, with masking tape. I know.
Okay.
There's this side of me that's very disorganized, and while I always
just give me a sample. Names. What do you name them? Like Bobby Sue, Billy Joe? Do you name them after Greek Homeric heroes?
I have Dinosaurs Escape. This one.
What is that? Is that a movie?
No, it's
Just something that came to your mind?
Yeah. Yep. I name all my products. They all have names.
Dinosaur Escape.
Dinosaurs Escape, and then I have the Super Fantastic Monkey.
See, I'd never forget that name.
Well, yeah, it's just like, where are you?
It's an image. Oh, I'm on Super Fantastic Monkey, but I'd like to change over to Dinosaurs Escape. That makes sense.
And all my networks, you've got to give it, because everyone's going to look at what your name is. So it really has to be memorable.
See, I'm so boring. I do things. This was what Ziff Davis did. I like name them after Greek gods and stuff like that. Or actually, my Wi-Fi access points are named after dead rock stars. So I have Morrison, Joplin, Hendrix. That's
I name my Drobos all after bellies. I think of them as big bellies. So I have fat belly and deli, and I have deli belly and yellow belly.
So I used to manage a whole host of servers in my corporate, and we used to name them all after Irish whiskies.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Glenmorangie and Glenfiddich, and there was one that kept crashing. It was called Glen Miller.
I'm sorry. That is terrible. Fortunately, only people over 80 get that joke, so that's. We'll leave it at that. Drobo.com/MacBreak. Use the offer code MacBreakWeekly.
And then be creative with your naming.
And if you have a clever name, send it to us.
How do you name? That's a new contest. How do you name your Drobo?
Along with your IP address and whether you have file sharing turned on that device.
We'd love to know. Just send it along to leo@twit.tv. All right, let's run through. So availability is soon. Was that? I didn't think it'd be available day of. I guess I was hoping.
I was hoping. Yeah.
The consensus, Josh. We had some good people on Twit who have a lot of experience with this. Joshua Topolsky at Engadget said, no, it'll be 10 days. Mm-hmm. He hit it on the nose, and he said because not for any manufacturing reason, but because they want time for people to build up, slathering desire.
Yeah.
Really?
The big line.
Don't you want people to run into the store immediately? I don't understand that.
I don't know that Apple's never had a problem building up desire for it.
So why would they wait 10 days or 15 days?
Lines preparation, I think they also just want to make sure that the message gets out before the products actually ship.
So they don't want people, okay, that makes sense. So they don't want the kind of people like us who watch these keynotes and know immediately to run to the store and buy every one. They want time for the normal people to see the ads so they know it's in the store, and then they can put them on sale.
They want to make sure that people know what it is that makes it so interesting, as opposed to somebody saying, "Oh, this is just like BlackBerry comes out with a new device every year. HTC comes out with 7 devices every year. This is not just simply every year Apple comes out with a new phone. They have a point to it, and here's what the point is." So, I mean, any times that's what came out when people were claiming that the Gizmodo iPhone, well, that was an intentional leak to drum up support. Well, Apple has never had a problem getting people interested in their products, as anybody who's tried to buy a 3G iPad can tell you.
Although, let's point out, Gizmodo did have the phone. That's the phone, right?
Yeah, but I was looking back to the original report. Let's not forget they had it in their hands. They took it apart as far as they possibly could. They did not know what
they still missed the story.
What it was made of. They did not know that the frame was actually the antenna. They did not know that the back was glass. They said it was plastic.
They missed the story.
If you pay $5,000 and take that risk, get the story. Send it to some. You can hire a guy who simply says, here's someone who's in the business of building these things. Send it to the same teardown guys who do the professional teardowns. Tell us what's in here.
Send it to iFixit. They'll tell you. Of course, iFixit wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. That's the problem, is you've got this tainted object nobody wants. You know what? John Gruber got the story. The big story is the resolution of the display. And John called it exactly right. Wow. Wow. What is it, 960 by 800? What is it?
960 by 640.
640.
Yeah, the big deal is a 326 per inch
DPI. The DPI is unbelievable. I mean, more than a laser printer.
Well, it's more than an art magazine. When you go to an get an art magazine in the store, maybe it's 300 DPI. But it's it's a very, very high resolution.
I think the interesting point is that it's 75 DPI greater than the HTC Incredible and the HTC Evo.
And in fact, what it does is it's not only sets a standard for phones now, it sets a standard for desktops, it sets a standard for laptops, it sets a standard for the iPad, it sets a standard for everything. We've never seen a display. Now, Don, you and Andy probably got to hold it. Did you hold it?
Unfortunately, I didn't, but I know Andy did. So
Andy, tell us, what does it look like?
For reasons that are stupid to relate, I had but the most barest fractions of FaceTime with it. But within the few scant seconds I had, the display is kind of a little bit off-putting. It's so good. It reminds you of being in Best Buy and walking up and about to pick up the phone, and they realize that, no, there's no point. That's just the sample display that has a sticker on front of it to...
It's that good.
Because they're worried about people.
It's rock solid.
It's really good. The real enhancement, this is something that I had more time, unfortunately, I have to admit that I had more time looking at the display via the keynote than via the actual device itself. But what really impressed me was not so much the higher resolution of the display, but what it does to color. That when you look at the springboard, when you look at the home screen, the shadows are so much more reasonable. They're much less of a graphic effect and more of an actual detail. There's photos, skin tones are less bandy, less blemishy and blotchy. I think it's going to set the standard for just showing people what pictures look like. It's going to be really interesting if you have like an iPhone 4 in your pocket and an iPad, and you want to show pictures of your baby. Do you show them the big version on your iPad, or the better color version, on the little pocket?
How is the color reproduction on it? Is it? Do we know? Is it? I mean, this is one of the wraps on the Nexus. Is that as good as that AMOLED screen is? It doesn't do very good color reproduction.
Right, and also inside the demo room, it had the same sort of really flattering lighting that they had in the iPad.
So you can't
demo
tell.
room. So also, what everyone's going to know is the first thing you do is you take out inside of bright sunlight,
right?
Because that's the fail of the Nexus One and so many of the other Google phones.
I have to say though, I on the way in, I had the Nexus One and the iPad, and I just wanted to see. I held them out both in bright light. Neither one is that. I mean,
okay, but this is an iPad compared to a phone that you're going to actually put in your pocket.
Right. But it's the same. It's this IPS technology on the
I mean,
on the iPhone too.
It's terrible. I was using the Nexus One as my main phone for 2 whole weeks. I only stopped like the day I left for San Francisco because I wanted to make sure I refamiliarize myself with it and also learn Froyo, which is an awesome operating system. And the idea that I have to shade my phone to dial it in sunlight, that's bad.
If you turn it all the way up, you can see. You have to turn it all the way up.
Well, they have changed the manufacturing process though for the new iPhone, in that they're now bonding the 2 layers together. And apparently, and again, this is Gruber called on this one when he looked at it. It looks as though rather than looking through glass at the images, it looks as though the image is actually on the glass.
There's no refraction because it's so banded together. You don't. That's a very good point. As a photographer, Lisa, do you think this now? I mean, it's 5 megapixels, which is a credible number of megapixels. If it's a decent, we don't know what the chip is and so forth, but you sure get something that looks nice on there.
Well, I mean, recently, obviously, testing my new app, Camera Plus.
We'll plug it. We'll plug it. Don't worry. You're going to get plenty of plugs.
I've been leaving my 5D Mark II behind and just
using
the
iPhone.
And to think that quality is going to increase really excites me. And also the possibility of showing my photos at the quality, at the level that I want to show. I mean, I always have my portfolio on my phone. So when I'm on a plane or I meet someone, I can just show my portfolio. So that is really exciting. What I'm really excited about is the flash. And I'm also really excited about the ability to use it as a continuous light source when you're shooting video. And obviously, HD video is something you're probably really excited about. And I think that it's definitely going to change the way we use the iPhone.
I have to say, I'm kind of thinking I don't need to carry a video camera with me
That's what happened with me. I mean, on this trip, I've brought my Canon PowerShot G10. I've brought a little Kodak ZI-8. I've brought my iPhone. And I'm not a great photographer, but I like to take snaps and take an occasional piece of video. Now, with the new phone, I would actually just leave that all behind. I just take the phone with me.
I know. Just with my iPhone, or when I went to Africa, I took a Canon 5D Mark II.
Which is
a
great
iPhone
video.
In between those two, I have high resolution stills and video, and smaller, more portable resolution stills, and this makes it only better. Now, one thing I will say about the video, and I haven't tested it yet, so we're going to throw this thing as soon as we get it. We're going to throw it up against charts, and we're going to show it. I'm going to guess that it's like all the other cameras that are like this. So this HD stuff is exciting in theory, but the chip and the lens are not able to resolve 720p.
Right.
They're not, so the thing is, this is marketing. I just want to,
Well, now wait a minute. Okay, so that means it can't resolve 5 megapixels because 720p is really only a megapixel or two, right?
It's not really.
So it's not even a 5
it's
megapixel
not, all of these things. It is. It's like it's capturing 5 megapixels, and it may be.
Well, that's enough for 720p.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying that when we put, I'm going to guess. And we're going to see. When I put this up on the charts and I put it up against a professional resolution chart,
you'll see.
You're going to see that it's just going to all blur in to about. Because what I found, like for instance, the Panasonic Lumix, which I have, whatever when I have the LX3 or whatever, it's great. It's a great still camera. You start shooting the video, and it looks great at 640 by 360. But at 720p, which is what it advertises, it's soft. And so the thing is that and the same with the flip.
It's the same with the HDMI and the flip.
No, it's the same. And so what I'm saying is that I'm glad that they're doing all this stuff. I don't need them to give me a higher resolution because it's not. I know I'm not really getting that. But what I will say is that I at this point for just the camera that I'm going to carry around. Like if I want something in my pocket, it's going to be my iPhone. I'm done with like getting point and shoots that are, unless they're specialty cameras like this 3D Fuji camera or something like that. all I'm going to have is specialty cameras and my big camera, but my I got to carry something around and take pictures.
Yeah.
It's going to be my iPhone with this one. This has gone over that threshold for me.
I don't know if I go that far. I mean, anytime that I have any chance I want to take any decent pictures, I will always have a pocket camera with me because of the controls and the amount of control I have over how the thing gets illuminated. Plus, remember that you're not going to have a variable zoom. It's just going to be a fixed focal length camera. But the thing that really gets me interested is this increased low light performance. That at least what they've been talking about. They're saying that it has a backside illuminated sensor, which is usually for low light. The very, very smart thing that they did, and this is a complaint that I talked about in both of my reviews of 8 megapixel cameras on those two Android phones, is that, well, great, you've got a number that's larger than the previous number. You've got 8 instead of 5, but it doesn't take better pictures. It keeps getting, if you have a nice flat lighting without really intense highs or lows, it does an okay job. In any other sort of circumstance, it's really, really terrible. And yet, by keeping it at 5, they're leaving the image pixels like really, really large enough that they can get good sampling and low noise. The shots that I'll just say the shots that they were showing up there during the keynote were for a camera phone. I shouldn't even qualify it. They're just spectacular shots.
Yes.
You don't even want to say for a camera phone they're very, very good. If they just snuck those in there, saying, "Oh well, we took a walk in San Francisco."
Yeah, but that's a demo. Come on, who knows what they did to it? And
I have seen like demo photos from every single camera manufacturer that don't exactly. They say, "Wow, for a camera phone, that looks really, really good."
I mean, and let's be honest with the fact that do we actually need like 720p coming from our iPhone? I mean, it's about capturing moments. And
it'll be good enough for the baby's first steps and
the news. I mean, this is
Yeah.
I mean, this is like when you look at.
Is it better? Let me ask you this: is it better than broadcast? The old, standard definition SD broadcast? I guess it probably is.
I guess it's probably in that. Well, the lens is going to be different. The lens makes a huge difference. The lens is what makes.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
because these are all the same pickups in most of these cameras. It's the software.
Right.
It's the glass or plastic.
Well, the thing when you're looking at a professional camera, you have an enormous amount. In a perfect condition, a lot of these cameras look similar. It's when the conditions are imperfect that the lens really comes out, that the size of the chip comes out, that all these other things come out. So a professional camera is very different. But when you look at news gathering, I think that the iMovie combination with the camera
good for CNN is what you're saying.
If you're like, especially in countries where people are sensitive about. You're in Iran during a big event, being able to pop open an iPhone and shoot a bunch of what's going on, then edit it, and then upload it.
Can I say one thing?
Or even better, just basically look like you're just making a call, but actually you're filming someone getting beaten.
Yeah.
Editing it and transmitting it.
What worries me is that, and maybe I'm wrong, has Apple posted images or video direct from the phone yet? Have we been able to look at them directly? It worries me a little bit that we haven't seen that. Doesn't that indicate that maybe it's not going to be as
They
good
did
as
say during the presentation that the footage they showed on stage was actually untouched footage from the phone. That they'd actually shot.
I want to see it, though.
You
but
actually
also,
want to download it.
it was obviously shot, but I would like to know the name of the person who got the shot because it was definitely professional level footage. And there I'm talking about the selection of shots, the way that, that instinctively, if you've had 5 years of training, that I'm going to walk behind him, then I'm going to pan back while the person walks back.
Well, of course you're going to give it to. You're not going to give.
Right. No, I mean that.
Give your 8-year-old here shoot something for Steve's keynote. I mean, they're going to use it.
Well, he did say that some of our employees went out with iPhone 4s.
But
we got most of the phone back.
I liked it, and I thought this was strange when Steve said, "I'd like to show you a little movie I made." Like he made that movie.
He did say that.
Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe he really likes using.
What is
iMovie.
exciting, and they didn't actually show, was I can just imagine, your iPhone and your iPad once they get iMovie onto the iPad.
Yeah.
Then it's
because you
interesting,
can then just connect you. I mean, you can do it now.
Who's going to use iMovie on a screen?
It is a bit limiting, but on the iPad, you've got this.
Fine.
Well, I think when we talk about the rumored missing camera mounts and so on and so forth on the iPad, I do think the iPad's pretty compelling with a camera mount.
Yeah, I'm not sure though. You still get the problem of how do you walk down the street holding it like this?
It'd be fun. It'd be like a big monitor.
I can't see the screen, so I can't really see what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
Oh no, you'd have it back mounted in front of. Well, if you have it back mounted, you're going to anger all the people who wanted a front mounted camera for.
Or you just
FaceTime.
get both. Like you get this.
Oh, there is. I'm sorry, I take it back. There is an iPhone for photo gallery.
Okay.
Online, so we can see these
awesome.
images. That's a pretty good image from a camera phone.
Yep.
Okay. If you have to dig through the specs, go to the camera page on apple.com, and they do have a gallery.
I think it's just about the potential of great shots and
Exactly.
just the immediacy of it, and not like you always have your phone. I pretty much walk around with my phone in my hand.
It is the best camera you have. The best camera is the one you have with
yeah,
you, right?
Yeah, and so it's about capturing moments right away and the ability to share them immediately.
The light
And when you
handling in this is quite good. I don't know how much retouch this is, but that's one of the things camera phones do not do well is white balance and handling odd contrasts. This is a good example.
See, that previous one is perfect.
This is a hard shot to get.
When we were
and the bright.
believe it or not, when I was in Bermuda, I literally had 5 phones with me in my bag because I wanted to go to the beach. Compare that with compare all 5 phones to this to see how well it handled like beach scenes where intense blue, different shaded beach sand, and all of them just really blew it. Even the iPhone was probably best in terms of overall lighting and color, but all of them really blew it.
These ones seem really vibrant with.
They say this is unretouched.
Yeah.
If that's the case, well, would they lie? I don't know.
Can they?
I don't think they can. I don't think they would. There's no reason.
If they're saying it's unretouched.
Now they might shoot 40 of them to get the ones that they're. You can see it blown out. I mean, you can see these whites are going.
Yep.
Going to Never Neverland.
That's
typical.
but at the same time, they're getting detail in the shadow here.
Well, that's you get one of the
tough
other
shot.
Right? So you get one.
This is a tough shot, and that's why I'm zooming in on it. What should I zoom in on that you want to see more of?
Zoom the pencils for a second.
Pencils, the color. I have to say on the pencils, especially since we know what a Ticonderoga #2 pencil is supposed to look like. Is awfully good. Let's look at the detail here. That's pretty good.
I gotta say though, I don't recall the color in the keynote being quite so vivid.
This is pretty well. Yeah.
I'm sure your monitors are well tuned, and maybe I'm just misremembering. I remember that being not quite so much of a citrusy orange.
Our monitors are not well tuned. It could very well be the monitor. But the color reproduction does seem accurate, and the detail, and I guess that's what I'd look at in a camera phone too, is the fine detail, is pretty good.
It seems fairly low noise as well.
Yeah, you can see some grain here, but not bad. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. You want to look at some video? I think there's video on here too. I'll see if I can find it while we talk. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, look, it's admittedly, it's not going to replace a 5D Mark II, but this is the one in your pocket.
That's exactly right. I mean, whenever I think I'm going to be taking pictures, I take my little Nikon Pocket. When I know I'm going to have a whole day of someplace spectacular, I'll take the SLR. But it's always good that the camera you happen to have with you all the time is now that much better.
I came close to buying
them right away. And I think
that's true right from the phone, don't you?
And there are
these great apps like Camera Plus that you could use to touch them up in the phone. So
in the phone and share them.
Yeah.
See but that's the most curious part of it, especially when they got into the iMovie for the iPhone demo, because they're showing when they finished the demo and they showed the finished video, it looked spectacular with motion maps, with GPS and transitions and complex titles and Ken Burns effects. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm really not going to stand there in a bus terminal and edit this together. All I really want to do is take shot A, paste in shot B, paste in shot C. Great, put it onto YouTube. Anything more complicated than that, I'm more than happy to go into my desktop and then simply sync it and then sit down and patiently have a whole screen.
How long is that going to take to upload, though?
Well, the other thing, though, is that I really found myself
on AT&T's network.
I know when I was in...
Now we understand the 2 GB cap.
No kidding.
Ka-ching.
No kidding.
Well, I think when I was in Africa, I would have been very happy to... I shot a lot of stuff, and I found myself using like the Squarespace app where I could just take photos and upload from there. Right. But the thing is there were a lot of times I didn't want to pull out my laptop. I didn't want to do all this stuff. I just wanted to. I would have been happy to edit some of the videos, and the reason I didn't post as many videos is because I was like, I have to take it and put it on my laptop, and I have to do this stuff. And for me, just being able to go through and cut it, and I don't know how easy that's going to be. I mean, the touch stuff and everything else, that's going to be the big question: is it really? I look at it like that might be like hurt my fingers.
Yeah, it looked like a very streamlined interface. But the one person I felt sorry for, I met someone after the keynote, and I was asked the usual question, what do you think of the keynote? He said, well, let me tell you, for the past X months, I've been working on the Flip video application for the iPhone, and now I really think I'm out of a job.
Oh man, yeah.
And I said, "Oh dear, I'm sorry. I was complaining about the Wi-Fi, but I think you have more reason to be upset than I do."
And then when you look at the price point, Flip is $200,
right?
So when you have all that. The capability to do all that. I mean, and a Flip doesn't take photos. So, I mean, what I usually use is just like a Canon point and shoot if I want to take just stills and video. Yeah. But the ability to do all that and make a phone call.
But of course, a Flip doesn't come with a 2-year contract. So
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
But the Flip doesn't come with wireless connectivity either.
Yeah.
You know, that's
yeah,
what
but the
you're
iPhone
paying
doesn't
for.
come with a wrist strap. All right, tough guy. You want to go? We can go.
I can't find any sample video as far as I can tell. Maybe somebody in the chat room can find it. They found the sample pictures. So
I do think that what Apple's doing is really doing this thing where when I talk about the iPad, when I look at my kids and my parents, and not so much the way I like to use cameras, but the way they like to use cameras. You know, and it's it's just like whatever little camera will take a photo and grab it and everything else. When you look at that and then being able to carry their books and do and do other things and have all the little applications and everything else on, you really are. This is the device that you're putting, just your entire little world.
You used to say, is it good enough? But it's better than good enough, really. The quality of the photos that will generate for the average person is better than they actually need. So it's going to be the one that they'll carry with them all the time.
Now it's going to be doubly important you don't lose your iPhone. It's bad enough if people will see like the past 2 years worth of crummy 640 by 40 videos. Now they'll see your entire life in high def.
I have to say, editing myself in HD is one of the most humbling experiences.
Oh, give me a break.
No, you don't. You don't understand.
Well, I
I'm
don't
just
have
not
that.
as beautiful in high def as I am in regular life. I find it highlights all my flaws.
The Blanche Dubois of Apple.
The light, the merciless light.
When I was a fair younger child, I was quite a beauty.
Sorry, Lisa. I
often like to breathe on my legs.
I don't mind mean to give you a hard time, but everybody's sitting and not buying it. I'm sorry. Editing in high def. My
We're
God.
bad people. We're very bad.
Bad people. How about, all right, so I think a big winner in display. There's nothing competing with it, although we'll withhold judgment till we hold one in our hands, but that seems to. There are 8-megapixel cameras. The Evo has 8-megapixel camera. A lot of these phones have it. But 8 megapixels, as you point out, Alex, doesn't really mean anything because it's all kind of digitally enhanced.
We should take yours and put it up against a chart with this one when it comes out. That's what we ought to do, is compare the 8-megapixel to the 5-megapixel and see what see how it's resolving.
Yeah. Video, good. iMovie, who cares, right?
Well, again,
I think it's just the potential of it moving to the iPad and that being something that people would be able to use.
I just don't see people editing a movie.
They're
on
getting us
those
used to
phones.
editing with our fingertips. They're getting us used to the whole concept of
if it's as simple to do the simple clip A, clip B, clip C, combine, post to YouTube as it is to do a really impressive big display, that's fine. If I can be in and out in less than a minute, then maybe that's a feature that I would use. I was thinking of that trip to China where I had the big $1,000 really good consumer 3cc HD cam, and I had the little flip cam. And I shot maybe 20 minutes with the $1,000 camera and maybe 4 hours with the flip because I wanted to use it and it was always with me. And so if I don't use iMovie a lot because it seems like such a production to do an editing project. So if I could be like on the train on the way home or on the plane and simply saying I've got 4 hours to kill before my plane lands and cut together what is actually kind of a good little 8-minute video of my entire trip, that would be a big win for me.
There already are applications. One of the potential casualties of yesterday is Real Director, which you can get both for the iPad and also for the iPhone, and that's a full-blown video editor.
Which I recommended. That was my pick. I loved it.
I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was really
Not
good.
that I used it. Did you use it?
I know.
Thank you for your candor.
I could
Bob.
appreciate its beauty.
Yeah, I loved it. The idea that it
great,
existed.
This is such a great idea.
We salute your spunk.
I did test it and it worked. So that was good enough for me.
Right.
I only found it like 3 days ago or whatever. So I'm not.
Oh, you gotta listen to the show more often.
And imagine people that say don't, they're Windows users or they don't have, a computer that they can edit with, like lolcat people.
It's good for
You see a cat
lolcats.
running on a treadmill.
It's good for
and,
lolcats.
You can get that all edited together and up.
And you do want sometimes a little bit more than just a little bit more than just trimming the ends. Where there's just a little something in the middle you wanted to get rid of, or there's a little something in the somewhere else. And with a little bit of training, someone can understand. Oh, I could shoot something wide, and then I could go in and shoot a couple inserts, and then I could just paste them on top of that. Those are
Just
all.
hand your phone. Say, here, we need some second unit footage.
It's going to happen. I'm telling you.
Now I don't know if this unlike the. This is video on the page, but unlike the pictures, it doesn't say unretouched video directly from a phone. In fact, it looks much more like an ad.
Well, also because this has been compressed and prepared for streaming.
Right. So it's not a good way to test it. It is the same place they took the picture of the guy. out at.
See, well, actually,
studio.
well, that reminds. I'm sure they put it on a tripod for that shot. But I wanted to ask if iMovie for iPhone has image stabilization built into it.
There is IS somewhere. I saw IS. Whether it's in the camera.
You would assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like it could with the gyro and the, like all those things.
They should know if the
got a
camera's
gyro.
jiggling.
Yeah. It's got a gyro.
I'm
Okay,
excited.
what is the deal with a gyro?
It's a more.
It's for gaming.
Well, it's a more fine-tuned, combined with the motion, all the other pieces. It's just going to be a much more fine-tuned ability to know exactly what's happening with the.
Yeah, because now instead of simply taking a guess based on the motion of the device itself, it basically knows what is gravity doing to this device at this moment. So it gets 3 axes right off the gyro, combined with the other sensors. Apple says it's now a 6-axis motion position sensor. And the demo that they did on screen, which was a little bit hard for me to follow until they switched from gyros on to gyros off. You see the precision that was now possible to rotate a game and have control.
Just a little
over
better
it.
than an accelerometer.
Imagine Farmville.
I'm trying not to.
I really want to see how people exploit it outside of gaming, though.
Yeah.
Just like the first camera app, that a Street View that is a little bit punchier. I actually want to see a compass app that doesn't just start jerking the camera left and right. I want to be able to know. Look, I just want to know: do I walk that way or that way? And it's sending me inside of a brick wall instead.
Well, another big area that this could prove a real boon is augmented reality.
Yeah, layer and stuff like
layers
that.
and stuff. Yeah, it's huge.
By the way, I know where I saw IS. It's in that new Camera Plus application. It's just taking the world by
Will that be the
storm.
Camera Plus application we keep hearing so doggone much about, Leo?
Oh, man,
Is this going to be using the gyro and everything? I mean, will it be able to use that?
Well,
stuff?
yeah,
It should be
I mean,
able to, 'cause
once-
it's just tapping into core motion.
Yeah. I mean, once we heard all those things, we're like, okay, we're getting back to work.
Version 2.
That was one of those really wonderful little gasps and applauses from the audience, because it's a developer.
Really?
It's a developer keynote. So when the developer says, "Oh, by the way, we now have core motion," meaning that just ask the phone what's happening to it, and it will tell you in plain English or English that developers can understand.
By the way, Lisa, this does seem like the one camera app. And everybody should
I'm
have.
really, really proud of
This
it.
This is very sweet. It's got it all. It's got effects. It's got cropping. It's got borders.
And those are my special
retouch.
effects. I'm sharing them with you.
Thank you.
And I really,
Lightbox. Share. It's got built-in sharing. This is very cool. Flickr, Twitter, Facebook.
And
email.
we have our own sharing site as well, so you don't have to use TwitPic.
Who's doing this with you?
Tap, tap, tap.
Wow.
And I mean, they're
They're
perfectionists.
good. They're really.
Yes.
They're probably the best iPhone developers out there. That's really good, Lisa.
I just have to say that.
Oh,
just
my God. You just look horrible in high def. You really. I'm sorry. I'll have to move my pointer.
Every picture you take of all of your friends will look exactly like that with that application.
Like that.
I understand the cast of Desperate Housewives use no other application for their promo pictures.
What is this? Like $20,000 worth of camera here?
Yes. Okay,
Holy
they asked
moly.
me, they said, what's your dream
10,000.
rig?
Wow.
And I wrote everything down from, every single lens that I'd ever want. And then they're going to give it away. They're going to pry it from my hand.
Yeah, you were like, what?
I really hope somebody who's into photography and gets this, because it's going to kill me if somebody wins this. It's
Puts
just
it on
like
eBay or
5D Mark II.
Will it blend?
Oh
No, don't even say that. Oh, it's
Sacrilege.
such beautiful. And just the fact that we spent so long sort of like finding every little piece of gear. Like it has a lens baby in there. It has like the
fun.
black
That actually must have been fun to put together.
Well, it was. And then I realized
Black Rapid, I love that. The Lens Baby, I love that. Wow. Extra
Gorilla
battery
Pod,
pack.
extra battery. I don't even have these things. And I realized I only had...
You just got your 5D. I mean, come on.
I know. I only have two. I only own 2 lenses.
Wow.
Because it was supposed to be my gear, like win my gear, and we
they're
put
all-
it on. There wasn't much. A flash.
Well, you should have tuned the contest that way, where all your old gear that you replaced with the new stuff.
There you go.
Here's
Yeah.
2 years ago a camera body. Here's the Praktica FX I bought in college for my photo class.
Yeah. No, it's
Lisa
everything.
Bettany
Enjoy.
not included.
APS is coming back as a film format. We just know it.
Yeah.
They really should say that on the print ad there. Lisa Bettany not
no.
included.
I'm really excited to share this and oh, come on.
Hey, we're going to take a break, come back in just a bit with more about the iPhone, and there's lots more to talk about, and also Safari 5 and other Apple announcements that nobody's said anything about yet, but we will, because as soon as I find them. But first, I want to tell you how you can get that new iPhone 4. You're probably wondering, gee, I just bought my 3GS. It was nice of, to use Steve's words, generous of AT&T. That if you still under contract to AT&T, if it expires in 2010, which of course nobody who bought a 3GS, my contract won't expire for another year, right? So, but anyway, this is what you do. You don't sell it. You gazelle it. And, you know, on average, in fact, I can do it right now. Let's do it. I think the Gazelle price on a 3GS is very close to the price that it will cost you to get the new iPhone. So it's kind of a push upgrade. Don't just sell it. Gazelle it. Let's see. iPhone. This is when their business gets very busy. GAZELLE.com. iPhone, I'm going to put a 3GS because I got to get my money back out of this thing. 3GS. I have a, what do I have? I think I have a 32 gig. I think I did. All right, let's search for it. Does it make a call successfully? Well, as successful as any AT&T phone. Is it free of water damage? Yes. Is it in good condition?
Does it count if I dropped it in the toilet?
Yes. No, you cannot. And I have the original. And
it actually will survive a. We've done some testing. I've done some.
Look,
testing.
$272.
A warm wash.
I'm going to get almost all of it back.
Simply put it in rice for 4 days, and it'll work.
Really? Warm wash? You tried this?
Unfortunately, yes.
But
and the dryer.
At that point, you cannot gazelle it. You have to tell them because there's a little thing in it.
It was washed and dried. Not this one.
So you can't gazelle it.
I gave it to someone else in the office. I said, if you can get this to work, you can have it. And
so Gazelle sends you a box, and you can put all your gadgets in there, and they pay for the shipping. You send it to them. They assess it, and if it matches the condition you said, they'll give you that amount. In some cases, they'll even give you more if you underestimated the value. And now you're ready to buy your new iPhone. See, isn't this great?
What do they do with it?
They resell it. Now, here's a good question. If it is not resellable, if there's nothing they can do with it, they recycle it, and they use green recyclers. They use certified, so you know it's not being shipped, offshore. They use Cloud Blue right now, although they go with all of the certified EPA, EMS systems, independently audited, the good recyclers. So you're right. If it's not resellable,
$272 is a great price.
Yeah.
Well, that was the 32 gigs, so it's like $12 less than I paid for it.
Right.
That's crazy.
So, but you know why? Because there is a good resale market on iPhones.
Right. And they're doing pretty well on it. They take it overseas.
Oh yeah, they're
Great
doing
market.
fine on
You're
it.
set.
Gazelle, it's a really clever business. GAZELLE.com. Let me show you one other thing I really like about Gazelle. If you are a nonprofit and you're trying to fund a cause, it's better than a bake sale. Have a Gazelle sale. They will set up a Gazelle page for you, a personalized gadget drive page. You tell your people, your families or whatever, your soccer team, go to Gazelle at this special page. Everything that they send in, they're donating to you, and you get, and it's a great way to raise money for your favorite charity, better than a bake sale.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that clever?
Yeah, really.
I like this company. GAZELLE.com. If you're getting a new iPhone, and yeah, you're like me, you got a 3GS, so AT&T's not going to give you a break, at least you can sell it on Gazelle. GAZELLE.
Is this available in Canada? Wow.
I don't know. Let me see. I have no idea. That's a good question.
I have to move here.
Just move here, would you? Stop asking these tough questions. Just move here. I don't see why not. I mean, then there's that tariff thing, though, on the shipping, right? They send you the box. It's used. You put it in the box. Then they send you a check. I bet you could do it. Would you find out? Somebody find out for us. Can you do Gazelle in Canada? I will find out. I happen to have some friends. What are you laughing at?
I don't know. It gets kind of lonely up there in Canada, but there's still some laws, Leo. Buy some drinks. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, baby. Do the Gazelle. GAZELLE.com. We thank them for their support of MacBreak Weekly. Don't just sell it. Gazelle it. All right. So we covered the display. We covered, what else? What else do we need to cover? We covered the camera. We covered iMovie. We covered the gyro. Multitasking. Let's talk a little bit about some of the software updates. Steve, I have to say that folder demo was very elegant. The way you do the folder, you drag any application on top of any other application, and it then, I don't know how, names a folder somehow logically based on
the genre. Categories.
iTunes category, App Store categories. So that's going to. So the example they use in the video is you drag a TripIt or one of these travel apps to another travel app. Suddenly they're both in a folder called Travel.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And
Love
you can
that.
rename it as well if you want to give it your own name.
You can.
You can edit it. Yeah.
Okay. Now look, Android's had folders for a while, so this is catch up. But this is an example of how Apple does it elegantly.
Right. It's like they don't get into the numbers game of saying we have more features than anybody else. They're just like, we put in this feature the way that it should be implemented in a way that makes sense. And really the best illustration of this concept has been the way that cut, copy, and paste works on the iPhone compared to the way that works on Android, where it works kind of, sort of, and not in all applications, and sometimes it works not the way you expected it to. And if you're expecting to move the insertion point more precisely than you were able to, good luck with that. It came late to the iPhone, but it came really, really well. We're not getting folders the way that people customarily expect to get them.
It's a little weird, but it works.
But it's really what we don't want necessarily a directory file structure on the iPhone. What we want is the ability to take a million pages of icons and organize them logically. What I really like about it is the fact that you can even drag folders into the dock. So if you want to essentially have an application launcher just for your social media apps, tap, the whole screen flips up for a bit, showing you just all your social media app, tap, and you're back into Twitter. So you can really run your entire show from just one page now.
Right. Seems very clever. Multitasking also unique kind of implementation, but it seems effective.
Yeah, especially because they've essentially given the developers the infrastructure for most of the tasks they actually want. The one that they demonstrated, of course, was Pandora running in the background.
That's what everybody wants.
Exactly.
In fact, even my mom is using the iPad. She said, "Can I play my farm game and have Pandora running?" It's the first thing that comes up.
And once again, you get that sort of everything just goes slides up to show you this little control list has been hiding behind it always. And it's not as though you get a customized Pandora playback deck. It gives you a set of audio controls that is common to all background playback that uses the same APIs, so people are going to get a very consistent experience.
So Pandora has to be rewritten to take advantage of this, it sounds like.
All background apps have to be rewritten to take advantage of these custom APIs, because once again, it's not simply that they're managing running of background apps, it's that you have to call this API that Apple has specifically written to work in the background without taxing the battery, without taxing the processor.
And isn't this part of the argument, goes to the argument of why Apple wants everything written in Xcode?
Yeah.
Where you have, to take advantage of, to fully take advantage of what they're providing is that underlying infrastructure that allows all these apps to do the same thing together.
And that's been their game for a few years now. They really did a good job of, once again, moving the argument that Google made when they're talking about why they reject certain apps. They gave three most common reasons why they reject an app. Number 3 was because it uses an outside API, and they didn't simply say, well, because we want to control our platform. It's because that way, if you have a custom API and we upgrade the OS, it's going to make your app fail, and that's not good for you. It's not good for the user. So that's why we're not allowing outside APIs. Again, we're Apple positioning it as a feature for developers and a feature for users, not simply that we don't want people to put Flash on our device if we don't want it to be there.
Yeah, it also plays into the fact why there is a delay before the phone comes out, because at the conference they released the GM master for the
So it's done.
It's done.
4 is done.
But it now gives the developers the opportunity to go away, test their applications against it, and then get it into the store, so that when the phone is released in 3 weeks or whatever, these extra features are available within the applications. It'd be terrible if they were to release it today and half the apps weren't ready for it. So because they wouldn't multitask in the current versions.
Have you been using multitask a lot with Android?
Well, it's what you do with a computer. It's what you do with a phone. You run something, it's running, and when you leave it, it's still running, and Pandora's still running, or the music's still running, or whatever. And it actually can produce some odd effects, because you can run the music player and run Audible.com and run another music player, and they're all playing at once. Yeah.
But which tab is making that noise?
And then I guess the issues of multitasking are the very limited resources on a device like this, battery life, and reliability. And so the real question, I have to say that it works pretty well on Android, but not perfectly.
It really depends on the device. My Nexus 1 works really, really great. I hardly notice any battery drain. Even when I was trying to test out Flash and making it break, I had that during a taping of MacBreak a couple of weeks ago. I was having a Flash benchmark running for 2 hours, and it really didn't drain down the battery all that much. But nonetheless,
and by the way, I tested with and without third-party task killers, and I decided not to use one. It just Google's always said, "Oh, you don't need one." It's kind of a voodoo thing, and it's true. And I was looking at the API. It's built into the API. There's garbage collection.
Well, also you have to realize that no mobile OS does multitasking the way that most people define multitasking.
Right.
It really is a chance of suspending an application, preventing it from doing anything else in the background, but allowing it to do things that it thinks it needs to do. And this is almost the exact same thing that Apple's doing right now. A lot more control because you can't write your own background APIs. You still have to go through Apple systems. But if the same result is available to the user, really, the things that I was missing when I switched back to my iPhone a couple days ago, where if you're in a navigation app, the ability to be listening to something but also have the navigation app in the background say, oh, by the way, you've got a turn coming up in the next 30 minutes, as opposed to simply have to switch between them to figure, no, was that exit 12 or exit 21?
Well, that's another good use, GPS. Yeah.
Right, and that is another specific API. Providing background nav app can simply be alert and aware and updating its position and still communicate to the user.
You know, they still lag way behind Android as notifications, and they've got to solve this problem.
Well,
because if you're going to have multitasking, you've got to have the ability for multiple tasks to notify you there's something going on.
I have enough confidence that this is another thing like cut and paste, where they're waiting to figure out how to do it really emphatically. I like the way that Android does notifications, where it's just all there. Even if you just want to see what track is playing right now, flick from the top of any application, you see the notification right there,
and it stacks them up so you have multiple apps.
And that's actually the plus and the minus. What I don't like about the fact is that if I don't use my phone for about 42 minutes to look at it, I just see this big line of icons, and usually it stacks the least important thing up at the top, and I have to really scroll through to find the thing that's actually important. So,
however, at least you know on the iPhone.
Exactly, we need something better than just a little dialog box that simply stacks up. Excuse me. We're having to page through notification after notification. I'm very pleased that BOS beat BLT in baseball, but I don't want to have to like page. The first time that I reactivated my phone, it was just like stack and stack and stack with the MLB app, telling me about all the games that saw. Oh, they won. Oh, they lost. Oh, they won. Oh, they lost. Oh, they really lost. Oh, dang it.
And I presume you can control that too. You could say I don't want notifications and all of that stuff.
That's a special case. I really didn't set it up correctly. So MLB is still one of my favorite apps for the iPhone.
800-to-1 contrast ratio on that display. Is that high? Seems high? I don't know. Do you know?
It's pretty high.
Yeah,
it's pretty high.
You know, you have I think your current LCD TVs I think are at 2,000 to 1, or some of them are 10,000 to 1.
Yeah.
So, but it's still very high. What I'm really interested in when we talk about the resolution is. So the iPad, when is if the iPad starts reaching that kind of density,
so good,
well, if it starts approaching, it can't even get to that density, and it's already at 1920 by 1080. You know, if they actually decided to make the iPad eventually
where are they
run,
getting these IPS screens? I mean, this is an interesting
custom screens.
Custom, yeah. Maybe they're building bigger ones. I wonder if they can, and why not?
I'm sure they can. I think it's a price issue.
Another little feature they have, like the Android phone now, a second microphone for noise cancellation. That's a feature a lot of Android users like a lot. In the Nexus One
that was another applause moment when they announced the second microphone.
I have to admit, someone was showing me very proudly at Cinegear. Cinegear is this huge, camera and equipment convention down in LA, and this guy was showing me this huge box that's what it does. It takes a sample of the background and then it removes it. Now it does it incredibly well, but he was. And I said, well, how much does that box cost? And he's like, oh, it's $5,000. And I was watching the iPhone thing demo, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm just going to use my iPhone.
Yeah. So how much disappointment did you sense in the hall? Was there any palpable disappointment that it was still just AT&T? I was really hoping this would be the day that they would say Verizon. I know, Lisa, this doesn't affect you, but
no,
here
I
in the
was still
States,
sad because when I come here, it's
just the drop calls. Now, maybe that, and by the way, this is what Joshua Topolsky thought, is that maybe it's the phone that's causing the drop calls, not the network. Maybe this new antenna in the outside, maybe that'll make a difference. Maybe that's what it needs.
Yeah, I have access to information I really can't share, but I now am convinced that there's something the iPhone is doing specifically that is unique to that handset, that it does it keeps. I have to go back to my notes from a conversation I had a couple of weeks ago to explain it, but I guess the upshot is just that now I'm convinced that it's less a problem with AT&T than the way that the iPhone communicates with its carrier.
Yep. You're not the only person who said that now, and I'm starting to believe that. This would be the test. If they can fix it in this phone, they're going to have a lot more happier people. I was very disappointed that we're still on AT&T.
And we got a microcell at the office.
Yeah.
You
had to. You had no coverage.
We had no coverage. So we got a microcell, but the thing is now it's not even on the AT&T network. I mean, it's on Ethernet,
right?
Whatever, and you'll see 5 bars, but it's still dropping calls.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's an indicator.
Yeah.
How is it on O2? Are you using O2?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't really use it as a phone that often. I mean, I still use my iPhone as a portable device,
Right.
And I have very poor reception where I live anyway, so I don't use it in the house for calls. In fact, I have to go into the back garden to actually use it to send an SMS message. It's ridiculous. So I don't see that many complaints from people.
I don't either, actually.
Well, the big problem was I thought that Netflix must have been a lot more excited about the iPhone app release when iPhone users still got unlimited data.
Yeah.
I thought that's going to be, that's fun. That means I can watch one movie is usually about 300 to 400 megabytes streaming, or I might be a little bit less. At least that's the number I usually use.
But you had to have seen AT&T look at that and just go.
Well,
yeah.
No, I don't even.
This clobbers my. I said, AT&T's making this change on June 7th because they're going to announce Verizon. Well, now it's obvious why they did it, because they were terrified about streaming Netflix and all of high resolution video.
They're imagining their antennas just like as molten
melting.
mess. It's. I mean, that would be just an insane.
don't
Everyone started using
want
it the way it's supposed to be used.
Yeah.
I was lucky. Initially, when they launched in Canada, they had a 6 gigabyte sort of
cap. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's totally fine for me. But the price point is just insane. And then
By my megabyte, it's very expensive in Canada.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and so consequently, if I switch to a different carrier, I lose the 6 because it's not available anymore. So yeah, it's a.
Yeah, I'm a little bit bothered. I bought the data plan for the iPad just because I'm writing the book and I have to make sure I use it for a couple of months, even though I have the MiFi. And now I'm like, how much am I going to miss the ability to stream Netflix all you can eat without having an extra dongle? And it's like,
well, the MiFi is limited to 5 gigs, isn't it?
the MiFi is limited to 5, but in my personal use, and I'm a pretty heavy mobile user, that's about perfect, because usually on a heavy month I'll do 4.5. I have rarely exceeded 5, and when I did, it was by not very much. And then I looked at my past usage for the past year and a half, and I rarely had a month that was below 2. So on this new plan, I would automatically being charged for overages. Even on my iPhone, there'd be many months in which I'd be hit with like a $40 bill.
No, but here's the thing though: is you're paying $25. It's $25,
$25 for 2 gig, right?
So now, if you think about it as you're paying $60 for your MiFi, and you're paying $10 a month more for every gigabyte, you're really if you wanted 5. If you wanted 5 gigs, you could pay $55 a month. It would be the same as the MiFi, roughly.
Right.
Because you're getting the 5 gigabytes of transfer that you would get with the MiFi for $55 instead of $60.
Right.
Right. Plus I have to pay the extra money to do tethering to get the functions of my MiFi. Plus I'll be limited to only 1 connection instead of up to 5.
That's another question. No tethering. I thought maybe we'd see tethering. Didn't AT&T?
I think they've announced
Yeah,
it.
no, they did.
I think
They announced tethering?
I think Apple is tired of AT&T, and they're not going to get any press from Steve. I think that
So
was it.
where was it
We're not going to
announced?
talk about the
Lisa?
network at all.
Where did they say tethering? Was it in the?
It was buried in the announcement the AT&T made about their pricing plan, which they said, "Isn't it wonderful? We're knocking $5 off the price of the data plan." No, oh, thank you, but no, please retain your seats. We just love our users.
Is there going to be
much.
a setting in the iPhone that says turn on tethering like there is in Froyo, or what is it going to be?
Well, it uses the same system that it uses on every international carrier. Where if you want to turn on tethering, I believe it's in the settings panel. And it's just a switch you turn on. It should simply work. But it is something you have to purchase through AT&T.
Is it $20 a month?
It is an extra $20 a month. It is via USB tethering.
That's cheaper than Verizon or Sprint.
Yeah, but that's
Sprint's
just for the
30.
connection.
Yeah,
It doesn't include any extra data.
Right.
That's just the privilege of tethering.
There's a
Wait a
double,
minute, you get no data?
You don't get any extra data.
There's a double gotcha.
Right.
Most of the time when you get tethering, they bill you separately for the one you have essentially one cap for what you use via tethering and one cap you use via the phone. But they're saying nope, you got a 2 gigabyte pool. No matter how you go over it, you're over and you get charged for it. I think it's something like $10 for every gigabyte you go over, I believe. It was enough that it made me wonder if the point was not to turn this into revenue, but to sort of keep people from using 3G for things that they think you should probably find a Wi-Fi hotspot. They were very careful they're very proud to mention that, by the way, we also include access to 20,000 AT&T Wi-Fi hotspots for free in this data plan, and we would love for you to, instead of standing in the sidewalk outside the bookstore
But maybe that's where I want to stand.
Yeah.
I like it there. Well, of course, Johnny, Ive, and everybody got most excited about FaceTime.
Oh, when you smiling.
I wonder if Louis Armstrong really knew that this was coming when he recorded this song.
Well, he agreed to be part of Hello Dolly, so the man clearly had a limit for shame. This is. I think this is their. If there's an Apple versus Google thing, this is their response to Google's like Paris search ad.
Yeah.
Because by the end, like a room full of like hardened, crispy
crying.
developers are going, oh.
So first they show a dad
applauding because and one of them is deaf and they're using
dad
ASL.
looking at his baby, then the graduate talking to grandma and grandpa.
I did notice that they didn't show any clips of people sexting each other.
Whatever
gonna
you
be
mean.
like
You think you could use it that way?
I'm not saying
I think it will be used that way.
But it's just like,
Oh,
it was just I was on an
now I
online forum.
understand. It's not FaceTime. Never
So
mind.
Don, that's going to be your first like iPhone 4 application, like video capture from FaceTime. Oh, this is so hot.
They show the baby, the sonogram, and look, they acted as if Skype never happened.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we've invented it. What? Wait a minute. Hold on. Haven't we been doing this all along? I guess. And even Nokia has phones that do this. Fring does this.
Yeah, well, there's good news and bad news. Having just tried the Evo with a front-facing camera, it's like, wow, it has a front-facing camera, so I can do live chat. Well, no,
To nobody.
That application's not working. Well, if I can do this, no, that's not working either. You can use it as a front-facing camera for a quick, but that's about it. This is
You can
supposed
use
to be.
Fring. I've fringed people with it, and you do get to have a video call.
But not out of the box.
These pictures are little. They're shaky. It's not like Skype for one thing. I mean,
the win is that if you make a phone call, it just simply gives you the option of making a video call without any setup or any service. But you could really see sort of like the excitement curve start to go down with all these little throwaway lines that went into the next two sentences.
It's only Wi-Fi.
It's like when you call any iPhone 4, so it doesn't work with anything else. Over your Wi-Fi network, so it doesn't work via 3G. I thought this was going to be unlimited video conferencing to any content. And then of course we're making this an open technology.
What does that mean? Do we know?
Which is my follow-up questions. Like, do you mean that great? So developers can write any iPhone 4 app that uses that uses FaceTime, or is it going to be if I want to put this on my Google Evo phone?
Is it using H.323? Do we know? Is it a standard or is it a new standard?
All it is all I know for sure right now is that it bundles a whole bunch of open standards to get this working. Like they actually put it on screen.
Did they say H.233 and H. anywhere in there?
I'd have to look back.
Okay.
And basically saying that they're saying that this bundle of technology is going to be open, but you don't know exactly what they mean by that.
Even Skype is saying, well, we'd like to partner, but how, what,
Right,
and so
exactly.
if it's a standard like H.323, then anybody could write a SIP client or whatever.
I thought it was pretty significant, though, that when he was almost the first paragraph when he's introducing this, talk about we expect there to be 10 million FaceTime devices out by the end of the year. And that made me think, so is there going to be like a new iPad that has a front-facing camera? Is there going to be another Apple device that uses this? And I think that's what he meant by saying there are going to be 10 million devices that use FaceTime. Or maybe he's just thinking they were going to say, I don't know if he meant that he's going to sell 10 million iPhone 4s. That's just a curious.
I am surprised it doesn't immediately interact with iChat.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of like a no-brainer.
I hear that practically no one's working on iChat at Apple.
Right.
That it's
no one's working on the OS 10 on app now. Not that I'm bitter or scared.
Said Alex Lindsay.
Yeah.
Well, there are
to those of you who are not watching the feed and don't know who said that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, one thing, I mean, with WWDC, I mean, there's almost no, I mean, they've just, if there's any focus that you look at when Apple's looking at the future, I mean, there's no awards for OS 10 apps.
Yeah.
There's very few, I mean, everything is focused on developing for the iPad and the iPhone. There's not, I mean, and I've heard from people who are both developing inside and outside of companies that there's a lot of concern. Like, we're not spending
Is that your biggest disappointment?
About Apple?
No, just about WWDC.
About life in general.
Yeah, but like
I think about it. I'm like, there's no award. No. No, I think that for WWDC, the thing that concerned me was just that there was no focus on that. You know, there's no
mention.
I mean, it's still a big part of their business. It's still a huge part of the consumer business. Now, maybe Apple doesn't think that that's going to happen for the long term, but I think that it's for someone who uses pro apps and a lot of big machines. That's
Do you think iOS will become OS 10?
No.
Can't. No. Stupid. Bad idea.
No. I just think that it's going to become, but I think it is going to become the largest platform that Apple's focused on.
I think Apple just have this laser focus at any one particular time,
now.
though. You know, now it's. And I was surprised at the keynote. At the keynote, it was just the iPhone. There was nothing else mentioned, so it was purely one topic. I mean, Safari didn't get mentioned, although that came out in the same day, and that was mentioned later on in the afternoon in some of the keynotes. But you know, that whole focus was just on the iPhone, just to get that. And I was quite surprised how just much of a back seat the iPad took, because they didn't really mention the iPad.
Really true,
especially even with the announcement of OS 4, they didn't say, and it's going to be available on the iPad later this year.
What is the availability? So it's going to be out on all iPhones June 21st, but not all features will be available.
Not all features for all phones. If you have an iPod Touch, not all features will be available. An iPhone 3GS, not all features are going to be available.
Not even on the 3GS. Well, the front-facing camera.
3GS will. Well, no, the features of the OS will be.
Folders, multitasking,
on the 3GS,
everything but FaceTime.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm correcting myself. Yes.
And the iPad, did they say? I know they've said before fall.
They said fall. They haven't added any details to that at all. The only iPad related announcements that I can even remember are upgrades to the iBooks app. That
wireless syncing and
note taking, bookmarking, and all your bookmarks and notes and the highlights will now sync across all copies of that book across all versions that you have. So if you buy it once, it'll be automatically go for.
Is that different from Kindle?
Kindle does all that sort of stuff, right? It's basically giving it feature parity with the Kindle.
Yeah,
it's the WhisperNet, isn't it? I think they call it.
The WhisperNet. Yeah. But I think your Kindle, you're limited to 5 devices, and Steve implied that it was kind of every device.
It depends on book to book. On the Kindle, the publisher can determine how many copies of the book you can have on different devices. My favorite Michael Palin book, the first thing I do whenever I get a Kindle app working on any device is to re-download my my Michael Palin biography, and I just realized that I've just hit my limit of 5 or whatever my limit is. But it does vary from seller to seller.
Got it. Other features, there are some other small fiddly bits. There was the wireless syncing. Oh, wait a minute. Here, stop. I've been looking for the slide from Steve of what it supports for FaceTime. It's H.264, AAC, SIP. That's the signaling protocol that's used by a lot of these phones. So that's good news. H.264 for the video is kind of interesting. Turn, ICE, RTP, and SRTP. It is an interesting mishmash of standards that they've put into this.
Yeah, and it also underscores the idea that, no, if anyone's saying we're not an open standards company, well, look, we're using open standards to build this. We're also publishing this as an open standard.
Right.
Actually, the bigger thing I just reminded myself of that I thought was kind of curious, when they were talking about HTML5, they did not simply talk about how it's wonderful to use HTML5 to build dynamic websites. They're actually giving it parity with apps in the App Store. They actually said that we have 2 different application development environments. One is a curated environment called the App Store. The other is a web-based system called HTML5. They describe both of them as application development systems.
So Stun and Turn, Sparky is saying in our chat room, are ways to get through NAT routers. Bear, our sysadmin, says that if it's given the standards they talked about, it's jingle functional, so it should talk to Google Talk Video. Okay. So maybe it is a little bit more compliant than is obvious from just works.
I'm quite surprised that they didn't actually include a Mac client. You would have thought, rather than restricting it just from iPhone to iPhone, to include a Mac client, that would have been...
Especially considering it's Wi-Fi, doesn't require a carrier.
Yeah. And the only reason I could think of that might do that is because it would actually encourage more people like Skype and everything else to say, we can build something that'll tie that in. If it immediately opened up to iChat, you'd know that everybody would be just getting kind of wired into that iChat environment and then not necessarily go out into the wild blue yonder as much. But leaving it open and saying it's open standards possibly would actually maybe encourage more people to do that as well.
So RTP is the transfer protocol for VoIP. SIP is the signaling handshake protocol. Stun is the NAT traversal protocol. So it sounds like it does. I'm sorry, I'm still working on this. Apologies, but I'm watching the chat room. We have some very smart telco people in there.
There's a lot of this keynote for a lot of different people. Sometimes I was really, really surprised by the things that got cheers, including the Farmville being able to have the tractor, but also the simple fact that this, it took me like 10 seconds for it to really sink in, the coolness of the fact that iBooks now supports PDF directly.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Because everybody's clamoring for it, because it's used in academia, it's used in research. There's so many people who use PDF as the lingua franca for all their reading. But also the cool, almost in passing, said that if you are emailed a PDF, tap it. It won't simply open in iBooks. It will be added to your iBook library. So that just made a lot of third-party document viewer apps not irrelevant, but now they have to do more than simply open and display, permanently house a document like that. And the fact that it works on the iPhone too, that also now opens up that field a little bit. Now you're going to see the printing features of these third-party apps expand. You're going to have to see the Dropbox and Box.net and iDisk features expand, because that's 50% of what people want that application for.
What was the one more thing? There was a one more thing. I forgot.
The one more thing, I think, was FaceTime.
Oh, that was FaceTime.
Was that FaceTime?
Yeah.
Because he said there are 8 new things that I'm going to show you, and then after the FaceTime demo, and here's the 9th thing. That was.
It wasn't John Mayer.
Thank God, no John Mayer at all.
Well, with the Wi-Fi thing, they figured they had enough disasters in their hands for one keynote.
I don't want to leave anything out. I'm drawing a blank here.
I'm looking through my notes, and I'm not.
Think we got everything?
I think we kind of got it. If we already
They
talked.
didn't really talk about Safari 5.
We're going to talk about Safari 5.
They didn't talk about the phone. They didn't talk about the keynote.
They didn't even mention it in the keynote.
I was like the big idiot when like late in the afternoon, people asked what I thought about Safari 5.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they released Safari. Oh, well, I think it's wonderful. I want to know what you think about it. Right.
Well, the only thing I noticed immediately is it broke all my extensions, although you can turn on the developer menu and turn the extensions back on. So, but, with trepidation.
Yeah.
Have you played with IE5?
No,
Have
Don
you
was.
played with IE5, Lisa?
Well, I got my compact 386 going. And
exactly.
Have you played with Safari 5, Lisa?
No, Don was actually. I was one of those people that watched the keynote and didn't know. So Don was telling me in the Mustang ride.
On the way, huh?
Yeah.
Lisa and Don came up, and Andy came up in the Mustang. I don't know how you fit.
It's very cozy.
Yeah, I bet it was. Who sat in the back? Lisa and
myself. Yeah.
Some people have all the luck. So, what do you think of IE5? Oh, Safari 5. You should be now.
It's. I mean, I only downloaded it. I'd had a look at it yesterday at the keynotes, because they had it. They had some demos later on in the afternoon for the developers, but some nice features in there. I mean, there's a feature in there which is called Reader, which I think will be impressive for most people.
What a surprise that was.
Yeah.
That's the big new feature. What, it strips all the ads off?
It's not just the ads, but it actually simplifies the layout of the page. So if you have a really busy website with lots of adverts or lots of banners and things that you just want to focus on the text, it's very much like the readability plugin that you can get now. People have been using readability. It basically mimics that. So in the URL bar, you get a little reader button that you click, and then you get this nice clean representation of the page presented to you, which you can then print or email. It also, as well, which I thought was nice, and I haven't tested it, if one of the annoying things, if you go to a web page and there's like 5 pages, you've got to click through each page. Apparently it brings all 5 pages together, so you can read it in one go. So
I'm wondering how happy sites like the Atlantic, the New York Times, all these are going to be, where congratulations, you've taken away my ads, you've also taken away the clicks of Bettany.
And you're starting your own ad business at the same time. Odd.
Although I often will, as you say, we'll go to the click the print button so that I can get the print version of it, and that's what I want to read because that's all stripped out.
The developer of Instapaper has got to be really happy about this, because that feature was made for Instapaper.
Yeah.
Click on that, click on readability, and then all the Instapaper is part of what it does is to do that feature, but now it works so much better now that they have that built into the browser.
I'm really curious if we could go around and just find which browser you prefer.
Chrome. I'm a Chrome guy, although I have to say I'll try Safari 5 to see, because it looks like it's faster. But I'm a big Chrome fan on all my platforms. And the thing about Chrome is it syncs my bookmarks across all Linux, Windows, and Macintosh. And since I do use all 3, that's nice. Although I could do that with Xmarks, I guess. What do you use?
I use both Safari and Firefox, and so it depends on. I have to admit, it depends on which sites I'm going to and what I'm doing. I kind of just know that these are the ones that I kind of go back and forth. I use Safari a lot because of the RSS reader, the RSS stacking. Yes. So what I have is I've got and I know that there's tons of readers that do it, but it's just a simple list that I can sort by date
Yeah.
and have 60 different websites that I'm just kind of going through all the headlines as I get. That's how I do all my studying. And I know that there's better ways to do it, but it's just simple. It's in my thing, and when I click on it, it just opens. It just keeps on. And I'm used to it, and so. But Safari and Firefox, and I need to try Chrome. I just have to admit that it's one of those things. I'm in my little world, and I haven't.
It's just fast. It's nice.
Do you move to Firefox because of plugins or?
I moved to Firefox mostly because there's certain plugins. I have to admit the way I manage it is a lot of times my Safari is kind of kept pretty clean. And Firefox, I let it build up all my my passwords and my
this is where Chrome excels because now they have a very rich set of extensions and it doesn't bog it down like it does Firefox.
Right.
So I wasn't using Chrome until those extensions, those key ones that I needed, like LastPass, were there. Now that they're there, I'm very happy. I don't use Firefox ever. Now it's just it's a dog.
A tab whore.
I use a lot of tabs. I like that. Well, and the first thing I do when I put any of these on is I put on, and that's why I'm interested in this. The readability stuff is that the first thing I put on is that click to flash. All those things. Like, okay, I'm going to turn all that off, and I'll turn it on when I want it. But
Safari has a very nice flash turn off. Now, the new Safari 5 has a new extension.
Yes,
that was a big feature of it. Some new extension, or the new. Extension framework
architecture,
yeah. So they're not basically they've invited now developers to start developing extensions for it, and that's going to take a little while to come out. But
it's more like the developer program where you have to get a certificate in order to create signed plugins. Plus, it has to be vetted, or is it just simply signed?
No, I think it's just signed. Yeah, I don't think it's getting vetted.
So, Lisa, are you? What do you use? Safari, Chrome?
I love Safari.
Yeah.
But I have to say that I've definitely been swayed by Chrome, and I am a bit of a tab whore. I will admit.
What does that mean? You have lots of tabs open?
Saccharin, sweet and soft drinks.
I'm a Fresca guy myself. I'm a Fresca slut. What does that mean? You have a lot of tabs?
I open a lot of tabs, and I'm just devastated when it crashes. Because in Firefox
crashes all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just devastating because I do a lot of, I look at a lot of photographers, and I always kind of have them open, and I'm a bit messy about it, and
I want to see your desktop. Is it doing it now? Are you doing it now?
No.
You're on an Air? Are you on an Air?
I am.
How could you even be a tab whore on a MacBook Air?
No, you can't. You can't. But I have an iMac at home, and I've got two. I always have two screens, and I've got it going on.
You do.
But
Don, what do you?
Yeah, I'm a
use?
Safari guy. I must admit. Occasionally, I'll use Firefox if there are certain sites I have to use Firefox on, but I don't like Firefox.
I don't like it
I'm not at the moment. I'm not a big extension user. Yeah. Although now that Safari has got that, I might taking a look at that.
Andy, what is your choice?
I'm sorry to say, I'm kind of a triple threat. I've
heard that about you.
Well, there you go. Song, dance, and acting. I'm sorry. My headshot is available on prior request for the right offer.
The George Hamilton of MacBreak Weekly.
Safari is my main browser because it's the cleanest, it's the simplest. Also because of the click to flash plugin. I've loved Chrome ever since the stable build was released. I like the speed. I like the history bars. I love the way it handles multiple tabs. I cannot get my head around the fact that when I want to move a window, I have to aim the pointer really carefully because there's no title bar. But there's like 6 pixels between the top of the tab and the edge. If you aim it really well, you can sort of move the window. And I think that's sort of an obvious thing that a feature should have. Firefox, I've almost completely stopped using it. The only time that I actually launch it is when I wanted to do some web development because my CSS and HTML plugins work. It's more that I'm used to the way that they work in Firefox than any other tool uses it. But Firefox is dead to me right now. It's dead to me.
I left out one big thing, which is the new bigger battery should give us a little more juice. Which
we don't know.
They just said call time, but then I looked at the stats on the page, and it looks like an hour more.
We're all sick of carrying around big, bulky.
I would be very glad if I can get a day out of that thing,
etc. And it would be.
I'm certain I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh!
Andy's got took his Mophie and threw it out the window.
Pocket.
No, I was just trying to.
I can't fit my Mophie in my pocket.
Well, see, it's
bulky.
Too bulky, Mophie.
But there's like longer. What I want to know is it longer battery life or is it truly useful battery life? The only time I have this in a Mophie is a day like today where I'm up at 7:30 having breakfast with somebody. I'm going to be going then to an airport and I'll be going until about 9 or 10 at night. Because for that kind of thing where I want to make sure I can still get access to email wherever I go, that I need the all-day battery for. A battery that will give me an extra 45 minutes That's nice. I'm glad I have it, but it won't let me use the phone all day.
It's a Mophie day. You get up and you say, it's going to be a Mophie day today.
Such a Mophie day.
When I'm traveling, I have 2 Mophies.
You made me forget.
And a lot
You're
of
a
it's-
double Mophie.
Well, the other thing is I always want to charge, have one on the charger, so I'm always charging one. What I like about it is having external charge for a battery that then I can pop my camera in. So my
exactly.
iPhone
This is like the external shuttle tank where it gets into orbit. Then when it's no longer charging, you just jettison it. Let it fall into the Atlantic.
And then the worst part, I was in an airport and I got into a whole discussion with someone. You're geeking out when you get into a whole discussion waiting for a plane talking about Mophie strategies. Like, do you stick it on and let it run at 100% the whole time and take the Mophie out, or do you try to live on the battery and then only turn the Mophie on as a parachute?
That's what I do.
And we were talking about the pros and cons.
Mophie strategy.
But it's great. I mean, this is that like 2-headed like charger that Targus makes. I like so much. And when I really need to charge up really quickly, I can charge up the Mophie battery and with one of these prongs and charge up the iPhone with the other prong, and basically it tops up in like half the time.
The only thing I'm bitter about the new Mophie is the micro connector.
This is my maturity
Like
test. I had the end of that joke and I did not say it. Good boy, Andy. And I'm sure that 8% of everybody listening had the how to end that joke, and they're saying, "Oh, Andy, you have no guts." I have no guts.
No, you have guts. You have brains too, and that's the issue.
We don't like close dancing.
So, who's gonna buy? I know this is stupid to ask you guys. Who's gonna buy an iPhone 4? Alex Lindsay.
Yeah.
I guess I should say, how many of you are going to buy?
I'm going to stick with 1 for now.
Okay. One iPhone 4 for, that's one.
One.
Lisa, you can't get it for a while, but you could buy it here and keep it.
I might sneak over the border, honestly.
She's going to break the law to get an iPhone 4.
I felt with the 3GS, it was painful, the wait. And now it's a month.
It's slim.
But it's just that
glass on both sides.
Just when other people have it, just makes you.
Did they show the new case? There's like a new Apple rubber.
It's like a bumper
grommet case.
I like to go clean. I like it. It's like skin on skin.
Oh, I just got the chills. Don, are you going to buy it?
You never get the you never get the chills when I talk like that.
Don, are you going to buy an iPhone 4?
Well, the UK is one of the tier 1 releases, so we get it on the same date as the US. So yeah, I'll definitely get one.
Andy,
I have to.
Andy, did you have an iPhone 4? Tell the truth.
I'm in that window in which my standard response is I cannot confirm nor
Really?
deny that I have.
I guess you
iPhone
couldn't
4.
until June 20.
I had to institute a new rule as of last year that if I'm in a window in which it is possible that I might have one early, if I have one, I will say I will say I can't confirm or deny because I can't talk about it. If I don't have one, I will also say the same thing because that means that it preserves the answer for the next time that I have something early. So I can say
I'm guessing you don't have one because you didn't have enough screen time, and you could have lied and said, "Oh yeah, I had a lot of screen time, and I really like that screen," and you'd instead say.
Well, I did talk about my experience like actually at the show. It's I can tell you that I had next to nothing in terms of hands-on experience. I don't want to mislead people and think that I really know what I'm talking about this show. I found out about the demo area. I'm embarrassed to say I was sitting like behind the press area because I wanted an aisle seat, and I did not get advance notice of like where the area was, and so I kind of like left without knowing that it was there.
Enough time.
And so
you're using a 3GS now?
I'm using I can confirm that I'm using a 3GS now.
So
you have 17 questions left.
Will you upgrade?
I will definitely upgrade for the camera and for the screen.
It looks like a worthwhile upgrade. I think the screen alone.
I think iBooks is going to be one of the killer demo apps for the.
You don't think it'll be too small to read, even with that high res?
It's not so much. I quickly got used to even on the 3GS and even on like the Nexus 1, reading books on that small screen because so long as it's detailed and because Apple handles fonts so well, they really know how to render text, so that's very, very easy to read. Yeah. And now that when you get better than like laser writer resolution with enough space that they can actually do anti-aliasing.
It's the same size screen as the current iPhone.
Yes. It's a little bit.
No, I think it's the same size. I think
exactly. So. Yeah. Physical dimensions.
Physical dimensions the same.
All right. Some disappointments. Mr. Gray, the guy who lost the phone, didn't show up. I was hoping Steve would bring him out.
It would have been great for him to bring the phone out.
No, I think it should. He should have come out like with a visible limp and like say, "Here's the phone. You may go now."
Here's the phone, master.
A suspiciously like fresh stump.
Yeah, right. John Hodgman did not come on stage to bid farewell, but I do have it on good authority that there's a new Apple team.
That was like cluster bombs going off in my pants.
I'm sorry about the ad. We'll have to bear with that here. It's Electric Spoofaloo.
Hello, I'm the new iPhone.
And I'm Jane Lynch.
One time I was left at a bar in Redwood City and sold on the internet for $5,000.
I was lost once too, but not in Redwood City. It was in Singapore, and it wasn't in a bar. It was in the Parliament Underground Pleasure Lair, and I think you know where I'm going with this.
Not really.
I was caned.
I have a camera on the front so I can see myself take pictures.
Oh, I've always had a camera on my front, but I tell people it's a third nipple so they don't feel less than.
Great news, you can now use multiple apps with me at the same time.
Oh, I used to always have multiple apps. God, I miss the 90s.
What were the 90s like?
More innuendo than this
Cluster
show.
bombs going off in my pants.
Show ain't over yet, Leo.
All my design features were broadcast all over the internet for the entire world to see, even though I wasn't finished yet.
Well, I tried to leak my erotic novel online, but the website claimed to have never received it.
Damn you, Gizmodo.
Hey, that's a cute sweatshirt you got there, iPhone.
Oh, thanks, Jane.
How not to dress like your best friends with E.T. There's an app for that.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I'm out of here. F you.
Hey, pal, you dropped a call. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll pick it up. Yellow.
That's pretty cute. Pretty cute. Jane Lynch. That's from that.
Hi, I'm Jane Lynch. And
All
you're
right, Jane, I got it. Take180.com. Take180.com. Let's take a break. Come back. We're going to get our picks of the week and wrap this puppy up. But before we do, it's time to mention our friends at audible.com, the folks that do the great audiobooks. I wouldn't travel anywhere without audible.com. I am an Audible. Okay, I'll say it. I'll say it, Lisa Bettany. I'm an Audible whore.
Woo!
Woo! I love my Audible books. Listen
Today
to
on Maury.
I'd rather listen to a book than have sex. Actually, that's sad but true. Audible. Well, that's my personal problem. Audible.com/MacBreak, a place for you to, find great books. Look at this one. This looks interesting. Soccernomics. The World Cup starts on Friday. England versus USA. Go USA!
Yeah. Now I'm not a big soccer guy.
I know you're not.
No, so in fact, someone tweeted me before and said, "Don't forget to mention the game to Leo." I said,
It's not soccer,
what
it's
game?
football.
Football. That's right, Lisa. You know better. Yeah, it's football. Is Canada a big football stronghold? No.
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 We're all about the hockey and
lacrosse.
and living through the Olympics. I literally live by the rink, the hockey rink, and it was.
That must have been hard because you were a skater, a very serious skater, in fact, an Olympic hopeful for a long time. That must have been tough. Did you feel a little?
Yeah, there was a twinge, but honestly, watching Olympic figure skating is the most painful thing ever.
Why?
Because it's one shot, and these people have put so much effort into it.
You know better than anybody, really.
Yeah, and it's just like that. 1 second and it's gone.
It's
and
so easy to make a mistake that changes everything.
Yeah, I concentrated mainly on what was going around the city and sort of the free events and the sort of experience of it all rather than the actual sporting, because it was really hard for me as an athlete to just watch. I saw the bobsled live, and that I was right by the crash, actually, the USA, and I put that footage up, like my 5D Mark II footage of it, and I got in so much.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
No. Trouble, but
the IOC owns everything.
They were on it like, yeah.
I'm excited. I am not a big soccer fan, but for some reason the World Cup just really excites me. I just, I mean,
It's fun.
I am a fan. I like watching it a lot, but I just don't get to.
Actually, man, I was a little bummed that I wasn't going to be in Africa during.
It's in South Africa.
I've been there the last time I was in Africa, and it's so much fun to watch. Go to a sports bar in Zimbabwe watching football.
So this book,
I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way, but it's like a child's birthday party. You're excited to see how excited all these other people are. Like I don't follow the sport, but it's like, oh, wow, there's another like naked fat guy painting his body in this team colors.
I still don't understand offsides.
I've never been exactly.
No, well, my son comes back from university next week, and he's a big football fanatic, so I'll be watching it with him.
Oh, I
actually. So
can't wait to watch it. I can't wait. So this book might be of interest to you. Soccernomics: Why England Loses, Why Germany and Brazil Win, and why the U.S., Japan, Australia, Turkey, and even Iraq are destined to become the kings of the world's most popular sport. Why does Scotland suck? Why doesn't I know this is harsh.
We did win anyway, 1966.
It's harsh. 66. It's in this century almost.
Wouldn't that be a sick joke if America became the biggest soccer? That wouldn't be. Right.
And somebody told me it can't
so
because
wrong.
it's not good for network advertising. There's nowhere to put an ad.
Yeah,
so it
that's always
can't.
been the problem, hasn't it?
Yeah, it just can't be big here. Anyway, I'm sure they'll talk about this in Soccernomics, but I'm sure Andy has an even better. I just noticed this on the front page. This is the problem with Audible. You get there and you go, oh, I want to read that. Oh, I want to read that. I want to read that. If you're one of those people who loves to read but doesn't have time to read, Audible makes it possible on the iPhone, the iPad, now on Android. And boy, have you seen the Android app? Isn't that slick, Andy? They did a nice job on the Android app. That's still in beta, but I've been using the big beta. Is supposed to come out this week.
Yeah, Android doesn't have a real built-in music player, but other people can pick up that dropped spear and carry it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of it, right? And the Audible app is on iPhone, it's just there. It's one of your things.
Supported formats. Right?
Yeah. On Android, you can see your entire library. You can download any book from your library. You can get statistics. There's even badges for how you've been listening and stuff like that. I really quite enjoyed it. But anyway, that's not here to there. The point is, whatever you're listening on, and there are 500 devices, you're going to love Audible books. Audible.com/MacBreak is a place to go. You can sign up for the Gold account. That's a book a month. First one's free. You can cancel it anytime. That book is yours to keep forever. And
they have Harry Potter.
They don't. You know why? It was a weird deal that happened.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. They do have Harry Potter. They sell it only through iTunes, though. You can't buy it on the Audible site for some reason.
Can we make a version?
We could make our own Harry Potter.
I could do Hagrid.
Starring an all-American cast.
Let me just put my fingers in my ears.
Oi, Harry, chim chim cherry.
Is it really that? Is that painful, Don?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I can do Hagrid. I'll do Hagrid. Oh, Harry Potter. You know who does the best version? They have Jim Dale on Audible. You get it through iTunes, but it is an Audible recording, and it's just incredible, Jim Dale. But Stephen Fry does it in the UK version, and I have to say I'm a little partial. Yeah. He doesn't do as many voices, but I love Stephen Fry. So, but that you can't get. It's only in the UK because of this weird balkanized world that publishing companies live in, So
I did that with my mind.
Yeah. How did you do that?
Let that be a lesson.
What did he do?
He restarted my computer.
With my mind. Let's not forget that part. With my mind.
I was just sitting here.
He restarted mine twice. No, we're both putting Safari 5 on. Yes. Al will never understand why you have to reboot a computer to install a new browser update. That makes I know anyway. Andy, do you have a pick?
I have a provisional conditional pick.
Okay. You haven't read it.
I'm reading it right now, and I'm halfway through it. And I have sometimes I recommend on Audible books that I'm reading digitally, and sometimes it's actually on the ones that I'm actually downloading. This is called Little Bee, a novel by Chris Cleave.
How do you find this stuff?
Well, because I was in probably my favorite bookstore in all of Boston, called the Brookline Booksmith. And the great thing about independently owned bookstores is that you don't go to the New York Times bestsellers. You go to the bookshelf that has, here's the books bestsellers in this bookstore, and here's the rack of individual picks from the people who work here. And I have a 3-flip rule in bookstores where I will read the first 2 pages and then I will flip twice and see if it grabs me. This grabbed me from the very first page. I wound up reading the first 12 pages. And unfortunately for the Booksmith, I'm so sorry. I will buy other things in your bookstore. I bought it digitally instead of buying it from the store.
See, you're missing Anne Flosnick's incredible. Let's listen to a little of Anne narrating. Little Bee.
That have this effect. Me, I could pin a tiara on my short fuzzy hair.
We should explain that she's a 16-year-old Nigerian refugee.
Right. It opens up where she gives this wonderful description of being an immigrant, being a refugee, saying, I wish I were a British pound because everyone is so happy when you're there and you sort of disappear. And it's this really compelling story. I'm recommending it provisionally because it goes in really tough directions.
Yeah.
And I can tell that I have not finished it. I'm about a little more than halfway through.
Sad. Yeah.
And it's like if the payoff is not pleasant, it could be not pleasant. It's a
Hold
tough one.
up a scepter in one hand like this, and police officers would still walk up to me in their big shoes and say, "Love the ensemble, madam. Now let's have a quick look at your ID,
So
shall
that's
we?"
what you don't get when you read it.
Yeah.
You don't get the performance, and they get such great actors to do these parts.
And again, just the crafting of every sentence of this book. Even if like I didn't have the ability to process the English language, and I was just listening to the melody of the writing in this book, I'm just enjoying it page after page, paragraph after paragraph.
You could do these, Lisa. You do such good accents and voices, and you have such a beautiful just reading voice.
Yeah,
You should do audible books. You'd be great. I'd listen to anything you read.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, except, yeah, you and I, we'll do Harry Potter. It'll be the special I Hate English People version. The special Mary Poppins version.
Oh, no, that's it. Don't mention Mary Poppins
Oh,
and Dick
I know.
Van Dyke.
Oh, I know.
Hello,
Mary.
I'll take it.
I've got a lovely bunch of... yeah, stick some chocolate in you. No, let's do it, Lisa, you and I. What do you say?
Yeah. No.
We'll do Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Hello, Harry. Audible.com/MacBreak. Great place to go to get audio books, audio entertainment of all kind. And I tell you, it is well worth it. Just get that first one free, and you be the judge.
On a 10-hour flight.
Oh, it's a lifesaver.
It's really nice.
Gotta have it.
That's all I gotta say.
Gotta have it. You could read the Canon 5D Mark II manual, Lisa.
I could.
Yes.
The French version. Impressieur pour les charges les caméras operate TK? Yeah, that can't be right. TK.
Audible.com/MacBreak. Let's get our picks of the week here, starting with Mr. Alex Lindsay.
I have a silly one.
Silly pick. If you say Farmville, you're dead. Actually, I've been looking.
I think we'll pass. No.
I've been looking for Farmville. I can't. It's still not on there.
So no, this is totally an absurd app that I downloaded. I don't think we recommended it. I don't think I've recommended it. I looked back. I did some searching but I have a lot of fun with it. It's called Le Petit Dummy. Have you seen?
No.
Okay. So
I hardly. What is it?
You have to kind of see it. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Okay, I'm done. Oh, it's not off. Hold on. So what you do is you take a photo of someone, and then you put a funny. You can put a mouth over top of their mouth, and then it just says silly things.
Oh, it does look like fun.
It's and for some reason I'm having trouble with my audio with it, but it's hard to explain.
Now they do mention that in order to make this work, it's free, but then you have to do in-app.
I bought it. I think I paid for it.
Chompers.
Yeah, and I'm somehow succeeding in not having it actually play back.
Von Dutch tells me that Merlin's a buddy of Merlin's made this app.
Did he?
Yeah.
It is absurdly funny, and it's hard to tell until you get it. But it's worth at least download the free version and play with it. You take a photo and you kind of see it.
It's no Cam Plus.
No,
it's no Cam Plus. But I figured someone else was going to talk about that. But you can see kind of what's going to happen there. For some reason, I'm having trouble.
You're putting teeth on Malachi now.
Yeah, but you can have them have missing teeth or big fangs or whatever, and then you can either put audio in. Or they've got some really funny audio pieces that they've already put in there. And I got to say that for a silly, stupid little app, it totally shut down our office for about 20 minutes when I got it. Like we were taking pictures of everybody and having them just go, just saying stupid things. And kids go crazy. I mean,
yeah, this is a good kid app.
For a kid app, it makes my son and kids in his age
Can you tell
range.
them what to say, or is
you can record your own stuff, or or you can have.
I'm getting a picture of you, Lisa. And then I could put braces on her.
Yeah, and it's.
I need an iPhone.
It really makes.
I wish somebody would put out the new iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I didn't mention that. I didn't ask myself. Yes, I'm going to buy a freaking iPhone.
Woo!
So if you want to entertain kids anyway, that's the thing. And we're glad that you're going to get an iPhone. You're coming back to the fold.
Well, no, we'll see.
Well, if we let him back.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, it's that way, is it?
We must assemble the council, Alex.
Yes, we've been
Lisa.
Have I been thrown off the island?
Well, you threw yourself off the island.
I've been very happy with my Nexus 1, but then I'm lucky.
Because the open ocean, that open ocean, it's so wonderful. The freedom of bobbing in the Atlantic, doing whatever you want, not being on an island.
Now you just want to come back.
Yes.
You know, now the island looks a little bit better from where you are out in the open ocean.
I reserve the right to move around to whatever the current best phone is, and it looks like, I have to say, the iPhone 4 is going to be the current, for a moment, best phone. We'll see what happens. Okay. I think somebody, if HTC is going to have to take a look at these screens and see if they can do it, because that's clearly the difference. I mean, right there is the difference. And if I had Cam Plus on an Android platform, I might stick around.
Oh, people keep saying that, but it's just not the same.
No,
it's just not the same.
Is this your pick?
Of course it's my pick.
Okay, just checking.
Shameless. I'm shameless, Leo.
Don't worry about it. You deserve to have any pick you want. This is campl.us, but you can also buy it in the store.
And you can actually go to the Tap website, taptaptap.com.
They do classics, which is just incredible.
Yes, yes. And obviously, I'd like you to buy this. Not because I developed it, but because it's renewed my faith in taking and sharing pictures. And I really believe that it's the best way to capture moments when you don't have your 5D Mark II, if you don't have a 5D Mark II.
Yeah.
And please enter the contest where you can win my dream camera rig. It is incredible, and I'd love for someone who's into photography to win this, or I will go to somebody's
That would be
house
depressing if somebody who's not into photography wins $10,000 worth of Canon cameras. You get it. You just by buying the app, you get entered into the.
No, you don't even have to buy the app.
No purchase necessary.
Nope. Just
void where prohibited by law.
At tap, and then tweet.
You just tweet.
Their tweet. Their retweet. It's on the website, so you can just go there and enter.
Just tweet this. Win an amazing 10,000. Oh, okay. That's pretty straightforward. And then these are all the people who've done it. Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah.
It's popular.
It's popular. Thank you, Lisa. This looks really cool.
And I have to give a shout out to BirdBrain, which is my favorite new Twitter app, where you can actually track your followers, people who've unfollowed you.
Oh dear.
People you've blocked.
So you can take revenge.
And last night I felt the power of it. It's like, you don't follow me. Now I know I'm onto you.
So is it a Twitter app or just the stats? It's both.
It's both, yeah. Yeah, BirdBrain.
So is that like the opposite of stalking, where you're tracking people who are no longer interested in you at all?
It's too depressing when that happens. It's too depressing.
Who would unfollow Lisa? Come on. What kind of
Quitter?
Quitter?
I get an email every time I post, I think, that says, these 5 people, after you sent that email, decided to quit.
I do not want
what I find entertaining is I always look at it and I go, really? You quit over that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, like, all the things I said on Twitter, you quit because I said that?
I think I used that for 2 days and that was it. I couldn't
I enjoy it.
It's too depressing.
I find it very fascinating.
Really?
Yeah. I just.
Perhaps what if I say this? Shout.
Yeah, exactly. How many people can get rid of here?
Mr. Don McAllister of screencastsonline.com.
Yeah.
What is your pick of the
I'm going
week?
to go with an iPad app.
Okay.
I've been looking for a really good Twitter client for the iPad.
Yeah.
Needed it yesterday with sort of live tweeting throughout the WWDC, and someone recommended an application which I'm going to embarrass myself by trying to pronounce, but it's Usfura HD.
Never heard of it.
No, OSFOORA HD for the iPad. I think there's a version for the iPhone as well, but it is really a fully featured, really beautifully put together application that enables you to use Twitter. So
So it's pretty.
It's really pretty. Yeah.
So spell it again.
OSFOORA HD.
Usfura. I wonder what that means.
I don't know.
Say it 3 times, the devil appears.
Yeah, but it's got everything that I want, and it's really easy to read as well. Because I think readability is a big thing with Twitter. You know, if you spend a lot of time on Twitter, it needs to be nicely presented, and I've been very impressed with it up to now.
I'm installing it right now. $2.99 to buy. I have tried every Twitter app under the sun and yet to find the perfect one.
Yeah.
So
Well, this one has got nice badges at the bottom as well, so you can see how many new mentions come in and direct messages. That was one of the problems I was having with Twitterific, which was the one I've been using up to now.
Yeah.
But this is really, really nice.
Usfura from Saeed Maroof. It is $2.99, and it is on the iTunes Store for iPad and iPhone. Andy Ihnatko, your pick of the week, sir.
Mine is an update to a pick that I probably made about a year and a half ago. It is called A-Smart HUD 3D plus speed cams. I know they keep adding things to it, but it's always been my favorite, like a car dashboard speedometer app for.
Oh, I remember.
For the iPhone, and I've got it like sort of redoubled here. And now they've
You're not going very fast right now.
Exactly. We're all, I'm more sedate pate right now. So it used to be just a very, very clear and very, very precise speedometer, but now you got the speedometer, you've got trip logs and duration, you've got warnings of nearby speed cams. That's this little window on the bottom here. It would also give you, if you're actually moving and had a better connection to the internet, a live map like this in a 3D projection, so you can see like the roads going on in front of you. And they've also integrated iTunes. The iPod app has always been really well integrated. We can tap a button and get playback controls. Now you have like the current track and playback controls right there at the bottom of the screen. And it looks actually even a little bit more impressive when it's all conglomerated onto the smaller iPhone screen. I've actually been using it on the iPad, sort of like Velcro to my dashboard, and it is just it's just like the coolest.
It's nice on the iPad. It's really big.
Yeah, exactly. Because you just want, especially when. You think that I don't want a big cluster of cluttered information when on this sort of an application. I just want to be able to glance, get the information I want, and have my ass back on the road in like 1/5 of a second.
What's it called again?
A-Smart HUD plus.
A-Smart HUD.
A-Smart HUD.
Plus speed cams? 3D plus.
Yeah. They had the one version. Now they have like 3 of them. One of them will have the speed cams. One of them will have live speed cams, where instead of just simply downloading things ad hoc, now we'll simply have a live. Well, someone just reported like 5 minutes ago there's a new speed cam operating.
Is there like a button that you can hit if you see one? You just go. You just like hit a button and it says speed cam.
I believe in the purpose of speed cams to ensure the safety of all motorists, and therefore I will not condone such activity by using that feature. But I believe that is a feature of this application. I haven't used it myself.
They have an iPad version, or is it just a big?
I have not seen an iPad version yet.
But it looked pretty good. That was
again that's just doubled.
Okay,
but I'm so impressed. I actually only found it when I was looking for versions of this application for Android, because again I was using the Nexus One for 2 weeks, just cold turkey, not using my iPhone, and that's one application I really, really missed. There are a couple of different speedometer apps for Android, but none of them are nearly this pretty or put nearly so much useful information without becoming a distraction on your dashboard. And so it really is one of my, if there are 5 apps that define my use of the iPhone, A-Smart HUD is one of them.
Very cool. Very cool indeed. Well, I was embarked yesterday, as I mentioned. I was giving kind of an in-service for the high school teachers at the school my kids go to, and I wanted to put a lot of applications on the iPad that would be useful in school. And of course, I used the Elements and stuff like that. And I saw somebody's tweet. It looks like Usfura has just crashed. I'm not kidding. Oh, you know what? Maybe it died. Something's gone weird. I couldn't charge it. Something's gone weird.
Once again, I did that with my mind, Leo.
You are powerful. You're the man who stares at pads. Yes.
I don't try to show off. You've been displeasing me lately.
This is something I saw somebody tweet about, I think. I actually have several that I found, like Solver, which is really cool. It just won the Ultimate Apple Weblogs Award. It's a kind of natural language calculator. So you type in, there's some really neat apps for math. But this one, you type in the problem. Actually, let's do it on the iPad. There's an iPhone version, but in natural language, and it saves it, and it seems like for somebody who's doing some calculations, but that wants to know what the calculations are, instead of just entering in the number, you actually enter in kind of the whole problem, and then it does the calculations around it, and it saves it all, and has some very nice storage. So that's one, Solver. But I thought this one was really neat, and I think you might like it, Andy, because I know you like comics. One of my favorite books is James Joyce Ulysses, but it is not the most accessible book, especially for a high school student. This is a Robert Barry's comic adaptation of James Joyce. It's graphic novel adaptation. It's actually quite a good adaptation with full discussion notes, really beautiful on the iPad. But it's a comic book, but of Ulysses. I'd show you, but my iPad seems to have died. But this, I was very impressed by this. This is called Ulysses Scene, and it is free. If you have a high school kid or even a younger kid who needs to read Ulysses, one of the great novels of English literature, but yet one of the most inaccessible, this has a reader's guide, discussion, and a very accessible comic that kind of brings it to life. So there's a couple of apps. I found quite a few. There's really an amazing array of educational apps now out there. Do you use some with Malachi?
He has a flashcard. It's a kid's flashcard one, and you literally just hand it to him in the back seat, and you hear this 100.
Oh dear.
And he's
a smart kid.
And he's just constantly running through, and he's just obsessed with this little flashcard thing, and he'll just keep on running it. And then what was interesting is after he started playing it, he became obsessed with knowing what everything around him is. That's the thing that I thought was interesting. Is kids get to that at some point in time, but it turns something on inside of him.
He became a learner.
But he was like, he's looking at, what is that? What is that? What are you doing? What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? But it's like this constant
really
like obsession now with knowing what all the things are.
Because this iPad has some very powerful educational use.
Oh, I think it's its biggest use. To be honest with you,
I've been trying. Yeah, it may be. I've been trying to decide whether it could replace a laptop, and I think a student still needs a writing machine. But
if you had a keyboard with pages,
I wouldn't try to replace a laptop. I'd do this and a laptop, but carry this to school and have all your books on it and have. I mean, it seems to me this would be a.
But here's the question: is if a school's going to decide which they're going to supply,
well, if you're going to have one or the other, maybe the iPad.
Yeah.
You're right. But I do think you need a writing machine. I think you still need a truck, as Steve Jobs called the PC. You still need a truck if you're a student. For instance, just opening a web. I understand.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm recommending to the school? You guys are going to hate me, but I think they should get netbooks running Ubuntu Linux because the cost is half. They give out MacBooks to incoming freshmen right now, and one of the problems they have is these kids are playing games all the time. Yeah. So having Linux would kind of slow that down just slightly.
All I got to do is remove the web browser, and you've got that problem solved.
No browser, and who needs it? Hey, guys, great show. Thank you so much for being here. Alex Lindsay is at the Pixel Corps, pixelcorps.com, if you want to join his multimedia guild of incredible artists who are learning and growing and working together. Pixelcorps.tv for the podcasts, and there's lots of them.
Gear Media Tech, was on hold for a long time. It is back with a vengeance. We've been covering stuff with mostly what it's been doing is covering shows. So we covered NAB. And then we also just finished shooting at Cinegear, which is going to be coming up this week in the next couple weeks, where we're showing just cool stuff that you can check out. So definitely check that out.
That's pixelcorps.tv. Great to have you, Andy Ihnatko, all the way from Boston.
Boston, yes, lovely.
A lovely place. Are you going to be out here for a little longer, or what's your...
No, I am evacing from here directly to the airport. I had a 60-hour barnstorming mission here to San Francisco.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you made this part of it. And if you hadn't cashed all those checks, we were going to give you a suitcase full of cash.
That's what I was really hoping for.
Bring on the plane.
I've been listening to Glenn Beck, and gold really is the currency of the future in this uncertain market.
I just didn't know if the baggage weight would... the limit on the weight might be a little high. Oh, actually, we don't pay you very much. You probably could put it in your pocket. Thank you, Andy. Great to have you here. Also, our farthest traveling fellow, Mr. Don McAllister, came all the way from Liverpool to join us. Great to have you. Screencasts Online. I forgot to mention Andy is Chicago Sun-Times and the Celestial Waste.
Thank you very much.
Can't leave that out.
Great metropolitan newspaper. Thank you for your ad dollars.
It is. It is indeed. Don McAllister is with Screencasts Online. That is his daily bread.
Indeed.
Anything new coming up on Screencasts Online?
Lots more iPad-related content.
You figured out how to get the screen.
Yeah. It's
how do you do that?
It does involve a jailbreak, unfortunately. But yeah.
Does it do it? Is it fairly snappy?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't mind jailbreaking.
But you need a special capture tool as well. So to actually capture the output. So
you're going to show us how to do that because we're dying to.
It works very well.
Yeah, good. All right, we'll do that for our iPad show. You can get his screencasts on all sorts of subjects at Screencasts Online. There's free and subscription, and he's giving away a 16-gig iPad. Right now.
Yes, 18th of June. I'm going to give away an iPad.
That's exciting. And finally, last and not least, Lisa Bettany, who has just shot a movie of us with her fisheye lens. I'm a little nervous about that. That is that's going to look so good. I just don't like looking at myself in high def, Lisa.
It's tough.
It's tough. Lisa,
high def and 3D. Goodness gracious.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean for the flash to go off. Sorry.
MostlyLisa.com the place you'd like everybody to go right now?
Sure.
Just very instant.
And obviously, follow me on Twitter.
And what is your Twitter handle? Mostly Lisa?
Mostly Lisa.
Okay.
And, Camera Plus.
Camera Plus, just buy it.
Just buy it.
Every
Just buy it.
1 cent of every $2.99 that's sold goes to Lisa. So just think of it that way.
Maybe a titch more.
Touch more? I hope so. You worked hard on that.
Yeah.
Well, and I hope we see more of you. I hope you do consider this this move. We would have you on a lot more if you did.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I love it down here.
Yeah, it's really pretty. Vancouver's gorgeous too, though. It's hard and you have family up there, right? Oh no, you're from Calgary or Saskatoon.
No, well, my mom lives in Victoria. My dad lives on the island, so
you're close. Yeah,
I am close. It's just making the U.S. jump. It's hard for us little Canadians. We're not used to it.
I'll write a letter to the immigration authorities if you need one. We'll even say, we employ you and we need you. And when I started doing a TV show in Canada, we had to write a letter to the Canadian immigration authorities saying there's no one who could do what Leo would do. No, I'm taking the job from no Canadian. And you know what, Lisa? There's no American who could do what you do. You are taking nobody's job.
Then I'm in without any problems because Ihnatko, he hasn't worked in years. For God's sake.
You will not take anyone's job. Thank you all for being here. I hope you will watch the show. We do it live every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, 1800 UTC at live.twit.tv. Subscribe by going to twit.tv/MBW. You can subscribe in all the podcast places, and not just audio. We do high quality and low quality video. We call it big and small video, suitable for the iPhone, iPad, and Macintosh as well. Thanks for joining us. Now get back to work. Get
back to work.
I blame.
Break time is over.
Hey, break time's over. Get back to work.
It's all your fault.
What are you doing, you little kid?
You little brat. You little punk. Get back to work.
This isn't a break area anymore.
You're lucky we're giving you a mower to cut that grass with.
Be careful. If I have to use that mower, I'm going to use it on you.
And, it's sad because there's only one person in this studio that we don't have a jingle for. Makes me very, very sad. I'm going to really have to get used to this because it's not in any logical order. So, Alex Lindsay's number 3.
Alex Lindsay.
Yeah. Don McAllister is number 5.
Don McAllister.
Andy Ihnatko is number 2.
Andy Ihnatko.
I am number 1.
Leo Laporte.
And unfortunately, Lisa, this is the best we can do for you.
And special guest. Insert name here.
You can't get like a Lisa and Cult Jam song?
We could all harmonize.
Okay, let's try it. Lisa, Bettany, ready? And do we have to prepare? No. In 3, 2, 1. Lisa, Bettany. One more time. Let's do it better. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Lisa, Bettany.
Like it.
That's so god awful. We could do it la 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 Lisa. Let's try that. Ready? 3, 2, 1. La 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 Lisa. That was the best yet.
Yeah.